Say welcome. Preparing to live stream the meeting. It's doing it. It's slowly doing it. Okay, now I think it's doing it enough that I can hand it over to D while I accidentally open programs over D.
Whoops. What's going on, everybody? This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You have to be 21 and over to be here. If not, you have to get out. That means you in the background. I see you. Back to you, Fumador.
That's it. Thank you very much, D. Interesting day. It's the Jewish day of mourning. I think it's said Tisha B'Av. I don't speak Hebrew, so my apologies for anyone I just insulted. But anyway, interesting day. It's basically a day to think about, unfortunately, the rich legacy of suffering that the Jewish people has had, from the destruction of both temples to apparently a number of different Holocausts. I looked it up, actually. Apparently, some people include their personal loss. Some people consider that to be anathema, so they would never dream of such a thing. Interesting. Anyway, a friend of mine basically sort of greeted me because you're not supposed to actually greet anyone on that day, or on this day, I suppose it's called. So basically, all they said was basically the name of the holiday, and I was like, oh, well, what do I do? How do I respond to that? So I looked it up. Anyway, interesting. So you're actually not supposed to say anybody hello to much of anybody if you follow probably all Abrahamic religions, actually, because they kind of all roll together. That's probably not true. Actually, the Catholics have their own rules and stuff. Anyway, welcome, folks. Like I said, we are apparently live streaming, so I think that's working right now. Right on. Okay. We're going to be here for a little bit at least, ladies and germs. It looks like we already have a couple people, so that's a really good sign of conversation. So it's nice to see Captain on here already. What was I going to say? Oh, speaking of your neck of the woods, what's his face? Drew Carey. Drew Carey show apparently is streaming now online for the first time. Evidently, it never streamed before. I don't know why, and it's even streaming on a free network. Apparently, I don't know. I think it's on Plex or something like that. I don't remember if I've seen Plex. I know. I just tried to start using Canopy recently, but fuck, maybe I've seen Plex. Well, anyway, apparently on Plex you can watch the Drew Carey show. That shit was in the
Right
Cleveland
on.
show, and Drew Carey himself is from Ohio, I believe. And anyway, whatever.
Yep,
He's a
Cleveland,
nice guy,
Yeah.
rich as
Parma.
hell. No, busted that son of
Yeah,
a.
well, he don't own any businesses here, that's for sure.
He doesn't.
Nope.
So what's the point of that? Is that good or bad?
And it's just, you know, he plays off days from Cleveland, but most of the people that say that they're from Cleveland, they actually own a bar, a restaurant, some sort of business.
We should write him a letter and say, bro, you need to own a bar in Cleveland. Could even be the
We
could be the smallest bar in Cleveland, but it should have you should have a bar in Cleveland.
He could open up an ice cream shop,
That's right.
Here you go.
like where I'm working right now.
Um,
So I just pulled a 12-hour day. So
did you?
uh, I'm officially, when I get done with this glass of Coke or Pepsi, because I'm like really desperately thirsty for something cold to drink,
Mm.
uh, I'm going to call Tuesday Weed and Whiskey Wednesday takeover because
Uh-oh.
I've got a small bottle thanks to Qatar Air. And if you traveled them, they serve Woodruff's bourbon. So get a couple.
Yeah, why not? Obviously for medicinal purposes only.
Yes, most definitely.
That was a
Because
prescription
I may,
during Prohibition. If it was for medicinal purposes only, and medicinal purposes was left up in the air, up to the doctor. So it was a little bit like the California medical cards that Bud was talking about, how it was kind of a scam because you could just basically say, "Oh, my back hurts," and they would give you one. Um, Yeah, basically it was the same kind of thing. You could say like, "Oh, I have trouble sleeping" or whatever, and the fucking doctor would give you a prescription for booze. You'd be like, "Oh, my booze is legal, buddy." That's right. CTC says, "Oh, Captain was drinking all the Abrahamics again, Theodore." Nerds in the house. Weed Nerd was
At
first.
the
All right.
at the ice cream shop, we have a bourbon and caramel ice cream.
Oh,
That's
sounds
not
lovely.
too bad.
Does it actually have bourbon in it?
Uh, it will tomorrow morning when I try it out to see if it'd be a drink that they could sell at the upscale restaurant and upscale bar.
Gotcha.
But it does
You know what I
taste
would
like
like is a
bourbon.
bourbon root beer float and hold the root beer.
Well, that's kind of the way I think I'm going to end up making this one.
I think I made a rum float one time. It's been a long, long time. I don't know why I haven't done it again. Like Costco sells this actually quite decent spiced rum that I could totally use. I didn't buy a bottle of it when I was in California, but maybe if I go back down, I'll buy a bottle. Um, yeah, like a vanilla rum float. That'd be the shit. You get drunk off your fucking ass, but it would be delightful. Yeah, it'd be.
Oh my.
We'll try it, right? I'll telescope your anus and saying puff puff pass.
Nice.
I'll get there soon. I have a nice flower to show you guys.
I don't know why I'm obsessed with sunflower seeds right now.
Nice.
Sunflowers.
Our turkey is too. That's all he wants to eat.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Do
He'll
you have one of the good
eventually eat the
turkeys or
other
one of the evil
stuff.
turkeys?
We have a wild turkey,
Oh,
Ohio wild turkey.
that's fun.
It's probably about a 15 pounder.
Oh wow, that's a pretty big bird.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
I grew up near some turkey farms, and they actually all went out of business because not for any fault of their own. It was a really interesting situation, something I've always paid attention to or always thought about basically ever since. They were perfectly clean, they were perfectly good, but they were owned by Norbest or somebody. I can't remember the company. I don't think the company even exists anymore, at least in the Northwest. But I think it was a Northwestern chicken poultry products company, but they had spread nationwide and they had a massive salmonella outbreak, but not in even any of the products that these turkey guys were running. I don't even think it was chicken. I think it was like some weird fucking bird, like pheasant or some shit. It was literally it was something weird. But
I
that was
like
enough to put a
pheasant.
scare on basically all their poultry products. And essentially overnight, all these guys went out of business because all of their, it was kind of like with the Foster Farms and stuff, all of their birds came from this company, all of their sales went back to the company, blah, 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 blah. And once the company basically folded, all these freaking farmers folded. Anyway, so I grew up around a bunch of turkeys, long story short. And from time to time they would escape, and they're not particularly intelligent birds, but I mean, I remember when Bud was taking care of those animals, and I asked him like, oh, are they happy or are they pissed off prisoners? And he's like, oh, they're basically pissed off prisoners. Well, imagine that you're actually at a farm. They are really pissed off prisoners, so they're happy to get out. It's like Steve McQueen and shit, they're happy to fucking escape. Anyway, there was this one turkey that managed to escape and evade recapture for like a year. Honestly, this turkey, people would catch sight of him and they would like catch glimpses of him and stuff. And there were all these like it was private property for the most part, but it was like people were like, "Oh yeah, go ahead and hunt up there." I guess people just gave permission. I don't know how it worked, but anyway, bow hunters and shit would go up there and set up camp to wait for this fucking turkey, and the turkey like just it escaped every single fucking time, and it was in the local newspaper and everything. Like seriously, this turkey, I think the turkey just vanished one day and nobody knew what happened to it. Maybe a hunter actually got it and just took it away. But yeah, it was like a local celebrity for a while because it was like the liberated turkey. Anyway, that's some funny shit. Or at least little me was amused by that kind of stuff. Cheers, Al. Good to see you, of course. Wasn't there a rapper from Ohio? Let me look up the name. Captain probably knows him. There's been a bunch of musical acts from Ohio. One
Black
now.
eyed peas.
There you go. They're pretty big. They've been big for a long time, actually, probably pretty close to 20 years. Um, controversial. A lot of people don't like them, but they have some bangers. Fuck was I gonna say? Oh shit. Either the Black Keys or the White Stripes are from right around there, aren't they?
Yeah, Akron.
Actually, both of them, I want to say. Yeah, very, very close. Oh, okay, they're not Cleveland. That's a good point. Um,
But it's, Akron Canton is basically 35, 45 minutes south of Cleveland. So it's not anything big. It's like going to the outskirts of Dublin and, from downtown Columbus.
gotcha. Is Ohio very I guess I don't remember. Is it very concentrated in the cities or are they all over the place? Like the bigger cities?
Uh, well, the reason why Cleveland isn't the largest city in Ohio is because the corporation of Columbus is like the size of Bangkok.
Oh, wow. Huh.
So it goes out like 20 miles,
Hmm.
25 miles around. And basically it's migrated to the bigger cities, but we do have quite a few farming communities. We are a farming state. We are a dairy state. We grow a lot of your corn, a lot of
Amish
corn
state
for
here.
feed.
Aren't you an Amish state as well, Captain?
Yep, but the Amish are always working.
They grow Amish there in Ohio.
Lots of Amish.
They
How
grow them
are
from
you?
seed or from clone, do you think, D?
Pardon me?
Do they grow the Amish from seed or clone? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. How are you today?
Hop on, folks. You guys are more than welcome to join. The
I'll
rules
leave that comment alone. That
the
goes
rules are
back.
simple. Basically, of course, don't be a dick, don't cherry dick, don't be a fucking prick or a lunatic or however I say it. We have no interest, honestly, in your weird YouTube drama or your weird non-YouTube drama, whatever. We just basically have no interest in your fucking drama. Come on to chill, to have a fun time, to smoke a couple, to talk about your garden, ask some questions. We used to get into some really deep discussions, so I'd love to be able to get into some of those. I'd be happy to. If you guys have any deep discussion topics or something, feel free to bring them on. Probably save the politics, honestly, because they become really polarizing. There's a lot of people here in the chat. Honestly, a lot of times I see people who are on the one side, some of the people on the panel are on the other side, and of course, there's a balance sometimes on the panel as well. Doesn't seem to be a big reason to talk politics, so I'll be honest, it's probably not a great idea. But
Thank
at
you.
the same time, I try not to shy away from that kind of stuff too. But in the meantime, probably better if we talk about other stuff first. You guys are more than welcome to come on. It is kind of amusing that Trump and Elon were having a freaking an interview sucky off. It seems like, honestly, very, very strange situation. Frankly, people have been talking about Trump's lisp and stuff. So there is plenty of talk to talk about, honestly, but gosh, people get so angry about it that maybe it's not a good idea. So I'll leave it up to you guys, frankly. Um, yeah, up on though, folks. I will be happy to post the link. I don't pin the link anymore, basically, just for, I don't know, the reason that I feel like that I have one foot out the door with these live stream shows, trying to figure out some other platform. I'm trying to figure out if it's worth putting these behind a soft paywall or something. Trying to figure it out, basically. I don't know what to do. It's occurred to me that it would be a great idea, honestly, to either take these discussions over to Discord, although when we did that a long time ago, that was its own kind of problem, or to put them behind a membership paywall, basically on YouTube. I've been reluctant to do that too, so I feel like there's no good answer. But so long story short, until I find an answer, we'll just continue doing this. But like I say, folks, feel free to ask for the link. We'll be happy to send it for you. If you've been on the show before, You would have heard from me before if you are not allowed or something, so you're more than welcome to hop back on. It should already be in your Zoom rooms, basically. So if you don't use a lot of Zoom rooms, if you don't go to a lot of Zoom meetings, it'll be one of the only meetings there, and it should say Fuminor's private meeting. But sometimes YouTube or Zoom rather updates and then wipes those meetings inexplicably. It's a stupid thing to do. So by all means, feel free to ask if you, even if you've been on the show before. Other than that, like I say, don't be a dick, don't be a fucking prick. Good to see everyone in the chat, everyone that's lurking or non-lurking too. I think we've forgotten to talk to the lurkers for a couple shows, and it occurs to me now we should probably say hello to those guys too, because of course some people just work in the garden in the background and put us in the background to discuss. It's interesting that there's so little long form discussion basically anymore on YouTube. They say that. The kind of talking head YouTube stuff is dying, and certainly I find myself really struggling to find even any of the YouTubers that I really liked and normally watched for sometimes for a couple 3 years. Gosh, I either am bored with them in some cases, like Peter McKinnon. I just don't have any interest in his fucking millionaire lifestyle, or some of them just don't produce content anymore at all. So it's very interesting. Um, Very
Hmm.
interesting that there's so little of this kind of stuff anymore too. There used to be quite a bit more of the whole Zoom discussion. I don't know, very bizarre. Apparently these days everything is trending towards longer forms of a surprise because everything was short form for a while. Apparently the real YouTube clicks are in long form individual storytelling, basically, kind of podcast with a video. I guess YouTube is prioritizing that. Go figure. Anyway, like I said, good to see
Hey,
everyone. What's that, D?
are you into like Indian food or learning anything about India?
Oh, I love Indian food. I went through a
Okay.
whole like pro India, I don't know, what do you call it, India file or something phase. I've never really gotten out of it, but yeah, I love especially Indian food. Indian culture is less fascinating for me maybe than some others, but
Yeah.
I used to love the music. Um, I just really, how do I say this? I'll get this fucking sunflower out of my mouth. I really disliked the caste system, and I realized at some point how integral it was to their entire society. From the things that I really loved, the arts and sculpture and um, miniature painting and everything else, just absolutely fucking adored it. I know there's a lot of people who are really into textiles. I've never really been into textiles, but holy fuck, the best you can find are from India. At the same time, all of that is ruled by this really cruel caste system. So yeah, when I figured that stuff out and found out how kind of integral it was to the whole society, to the point that they drag it to the new world, to the point that tech companies in the Bay Area are famous for only hiring their specific caste. So basically, whoever becomes the highest tier Indian hiring manager or whoever basically is responsible for hiring, you will only ever basically find their caste and ethnicity in that company from then on. That seems just horrifyingly ridiculous. You'd never ever find that in almost any other culture, frankly. It's so bizarre. Anyway, so that really turned me off the kind of India file thing, but I still fucking love the food, and it's not like I don't like the culture or something. It's just I realized that there was a real thorn in the side. I mean, every culture has some fucking crazy ass shit, right? So it's not like they're different, but
Wow. Oh, okay.
yeah,
Well, I was gonna.
CTC is not wrong. We do live in a case system to this day. The case system in the West basically is a lot less rigid. I guess that's what you'll say. There still is one, like we see this in the two-tiered system of justice. We've seen a lot of different things, the system of advantages and everything else. I just got back from LA where it's basically nepotism city, right? There's a two-tier system there too. People who are fortunate enough to be born into it and so on and so forth. Yeah, there is a case system. But in India, it's a rigid one where you are born into it and you will die into it. Whereas in the US, you could start a success. LA is famous for this. You could start as a fucking plumber that came from Mexico illegally, and you could basically become a movie star. I mean, there are plenty of those people. You could become a big time music producer or whatever else. LA is famous for reinventing people. Even people, unfortunately, who have done terrible things, they get to reinvent themselves too in LA. Um,
Oh,
it's something that you can't say for the Indian case system. So it's very interesting. Even though India is a very democratic country, they have a really vibrant uh, uh, um, Actually, they're higher on the freedom index than the US is. Go figure. Go look up the freedom index. I believe India is one of the very highest of all the democracies. They're more representative democracy than we are. Go fucking figure. Even though arguably they're run by a total shitheel, but that is what it is. That's the downside of democracy. Sometimes they get shitheels. Cheers, Ysenny. Good to see you. Long time no
Oh,
see, Ysenny. I feel like we haven't seen Ysenny for a little while.
oh, last show. He was here.
What's that? What's that, D?
He was there last show.
Oh, was he? Right. Oh, I couldn't see the chat. That's probably why.
Oh yeah.
I haven't had, well, I've been on my phone for a long time, so I couldn't see the
Yeah.
chat. So finally I'm home, so I have Wi-Fi and shit. Staying Man's in the house. Good to see you, Staying Man. Welcome. So like I said, if I haven't said hello to you guys recently, that's why. Cheers, Love for the Plant. Good to see you as always. Love for the Plant, one of the few moderators on the channel, so folks don't wrong him. Sandy Wriggler's in the house, about to rip some Mac and Jack wax. That's interesting.
Nice.
Mac and Jack. Is that Mac 1 crossed to Jack the Ripper, I wonder? Or is that Mac 1 crossed to Jack Hare? I bet it's Jack Hare, but it could be Jack the Ripper. That would be an interesting cross. Certainly a lot more sativa than Mac is known for, I would think. Nice blend of flavors, probably, because I think that lemon of either the Jack Hare or the Jack the Ripper would complement that kind of creamy horchata a little bit. I always think of it as kind of it's not really horchata, but it's a little bit like rice pudding or something is always what I get from Mac. A little bit of gas, but not a lot.
Wow.
Little sweet, maybe. Yeah, a little bit, not even a little bit sweet, kind of on the sweeter side. Honestly, I feel like Mac is. It's got good
Oh
flavor.
man.
As much shit as I talk about it, is a tasty weed. It's
Mm.
very I will shit on it now though and say that it's very it's an uncomplex flavor for me. So unlike, for example, apples and bananas or Jack the Ripper, for example, fairly complex flavors there. Or fuck, I don't even know. What's a really nice one that I had recently? Well, I can't think of one. Jack Herrera, Durban Poison. Those are both complex flavors. They got pine, they got earth, they got lemon.
Shit.
Mac 1 for me just has that it has that creamy little bit of cinnamon. There is a strain called horchata that has a lot of cinnamon. Here comes a kilowatt. Like I said, a little bit of gas, but like, yeah, like with 2 or maybe 3 flavors tops, and that's it. But whatever. Maybe I have sour grapes against Mac. I can't resist talking shit about Mac. Cheers, bud. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome.
Hi.
Hey bud.
Hey, bud.
Hey, Cap.
I
Well, I
smoked a
would.
joint of surf grape before the show, which is grape pie crossed to Coot Special. What are you guys puffing on?
24 karat
Cable
gold.
weed.
24K.
I'll turn on a light a little bit here and here a little bit, and I'll show you the bud I'm smoking on. It's a legacy strain.
Hmm.
I was smoking it about almost 30 years ago.
Isn't that something?
I was just going back to India for a second, Creamy. The only reason I was asking was I was gonna
Oh, that's
say
right.
check out Carl Rock on YouTube. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. He lives in India, and
Old Rock?
some of the people there, what did you say that photographer guy's name was?
Um, Fuck, I don't remember what photographer's name.
On you watch him on YouTube.
Oh,
McKenna?
Peter McKinnon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say someone actually thought and some random Indian guy thought this Carl Rock guy was Peter McKinnon. This is pretty funny. Cheers, everybody in chat. What's everybody in chat smoking on? Scotty BX, nice. I'm gonna smoke some 10 karat gold in a second.
Hey, bud, you gonna be going to the post office soon?
Uh, I go to the post office. What day are we taking clothes? Either tomorrow, Wednesday, or Friday, and then they need the route. Other
Okay.
than that, I only have some like old clothes that I'm probably just gonna hit the trash can because we're picking new
Yeah,
clothes.
the mothers that I could
So like
use.
it'll be 10 days. Hit me up then. I'll send you some.
All right, cool. I take you guys downstairs and show you my few that I have right now. But
That'd be fun.
I'm really tired. This was a 12-hour day. Yesterday was an 8.5-hour day. Basically, I have the 23rd, the 24th off to go up to Clio, Michigan. And I have the 30th, 31st, 1st, and 2nd off. But for the next 65 days, I'm working every day of the week. So this is all going to progress the first person that I had to disassociate myself with because of their business. So hoping the second one works out. I'm sure it will. But yeah, I'm putting in some work for a family friend, and he calls my dad every week or twice a week. He's the only one that does that. And every time we go out to the restaurant, we never have to pay for the food. So I said, Anthony, in about 2 months, you're going to be able to help me out. And for the next 2 months, I'll work for you. Just feed me once a week, give me gas money, and, a favor for a favor.
So what are you doing? Setting up a grow or something or what?
A nursery.
Oh,
I got, for some reason, my mom says, well, you're going to pull the truck out and you're going to be able to set up 4x8s. Why don't you just take Dad's canopy that's a 10x20 and use that instead? It's one big room. And I said, I can. I thought I was, pushing 4x8s to the max. But I did pick up picked up 5 Iridium cuts, and I've been waiting for that one because
Olivia?
I've
What's
got
that?
some genetic plans for that baby.
What's Olivia?
Iridium. They also call it Q39 or Q36.
What's the story with that one?
It was a cut that basically one person had until he gave it to the wrong person, and now it's everywhere. When I talked to my friend, we counted up 5 people that had the cut. This was 2022, 23 maybe, because I did come back. But this was 22, 23. Only a handful of people had it. It was given to somebody, and that somebody gave it out. And instead of being a $500 cut, it's a $25 cut. Doesn't that suck?
The
No,
reality
Kind of
is,
like
I don't
my
think there's a
lemon
such thing
G.
anymore as a $500 cut. I'm just gonna be frank. I don't know. We can agree to disagree because, of course, you have a right to make money. And if the market in Ohio will bear a $500 cut, feel free. Obviously, it's not like you're a bad person for selling it. But I was just in California where you can go to a number of different dispensaries. I only went to a couple, but I went to the ones that Flora likes pretty much. That's literally all the research that I did. I okay, looked a little bit online, but basically the best so far seemed like the ones that Flora recommended. But California is lousy with fucking dispensaries that you can go to, and the most you will ever spend for the hottest shit that you can find to this day, current shit, like honestly, current shit, $50. Like most of the dispensaries, it's like literally 10, $20. And then some are 50 fucking dollars for the hot shit that you want right now. And so I'm like, I would literally never pay more for a clone. I would not. I don't give a shit what it is. And so that's my other question. I was just asking you, what's the story with that clone? I don't give a fuck how many people had it. I want to know what the story is with that clone. For me, it's not remarkable that only one person had something. I don't give a fuck. It really doesn't affect me in any way. What I would like to know is what the characteristics of the weed is. Does it get you high? Does it get you stoned? Is it flavorful? Does it grow super easily? Is it resistant to pests, pathogens, mites, mold, and mildew, on and on? So I don't know. I'll get off my soapbox, but I really disagree with the idea of these fucking $500 clones. There was that one breeder. I'm sure he's not the only one in Oklahoma who's kind of been in the news for controversial reasons recently. He was selling $10,000 cuts, $6,000 cuts, and I'm just like,
Oh fuck!
to this day, I have not seen a cut that I would pay that kind of money for. I can't imagine. I mean, if you lived in a fucking, I don't know where you'd have to live at this point to justify a cut like that, honestly, because for every one of those cuts, you could find 15 other cuts at a dispensary for $10 that are just as good. I mean, it's seriously, I'm
Fuck
talking about
that.
cuts that grow well, that are resistant to things. Like there are companies that are in the business of nursery shit now. And so it's like some $500 cut that one guy had, yawn. I don't know. I'm uninterested. Again, everyone has a right to be different. This is my fucking soapbox, I guess. What do you guys think?
I would never pay money for that. For that price. Fuck that. Exactly, Stevie.
Yeah, I can't imagine the clone justifying itself. I remember there were a couple people who watched this show who I guess we haven't seen him for a while. We don't have to shout out. Oh, look at Mr. Moneybags. But there were a few people that watched the show. I'm sure people kind of remember that used to buy expensive cuts from some other breeders. And I remember one of what's his fucking name, Mr. Spliff. He was selling expensive cuts. I think he does sell expensive cuts. I don't think I would buy any of those cuts that he was selling. No disrespect to him, of course, but I wasn't interested in any of those cuts for that kind of money. I'd pay $50 or something, but I wouldn't pay 500 or 1,000. I think one of them was. Um, yeah, I don't know that any of those cuts had anything compelling enough to pay that kind of money.
And like my
Okay,
personal experience is,
it's
God, there's
officially
gotta be
Weed and Whiskey
hundreds,
Wednesday.
hundreds of cuts over the years and decades. I've never ever paid anybody for a cut ever in my life. And then what do you call it? Pass it forward or what? Oh, I've held on to things because they told me not to give them out. But yeah, okay, those days are over.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just $500 cut. I don't know who's buying
Fuck.
that.
Yeah, who's buying it? Seriously. I mean, there must be people, but I don't know.
And I think that why
Everyone,
some genetics seems to have slipped through the cracks and seem to be lost forever is because we used to practice that like in a much more
Yep.
extreme way. So
Yep.
if something's really good, then the further it's spread, the better it's gonna stick around.
Yep.
So there's this kid in Ohio, and I'm mentioned as John Hartman's assistant, giving him his first genetics that had real names, came from Amsterdam. He started a whole seed company, and he's got a few of the Afghani 1 seeds that he made left. And I'm actually trying to get him from saying, listen, I'd like it back, and I'll put it in a test tube and see if we can't get a few of these to pop.
Like the strain that like I'm finally cracked some seeds. Yeah, because it's this thing called Starburst 36. I think it won like some thing like 3, 4 years ago. There's a small guy, a higher ground, or forget his name. He made it. Oh, it's kind of become a thing. I'm not going to name names, but oh, so and so's got a whole line of Starburst 36 crosses. My other friend crossed everything he could get his hands on into Starburst 36. I'm trying a couple of them. Okay, yeah. Now, if you're in a circle and give up something that somebody's in the process of
Of working on.
doing, and you undercut like his
That's a party foul.
debut or so, okay, that's different, right? But then once it's out, it's out. And even when I used to hang around with Mace at events a lot a few years ago, and certain people would try to give him seats. Like, we won't have fuck names, but all right. He always, I remember going, oh no, he it, like made sure, no, he had to pay for them, right?
Yeah.
And I realized that, yeah, because he was going to go do something with them. Yeah, once you sell them, well, that's it. That
Yeah.
contract's like, that's it. Whether
IP's
you sold
over.
it for $50 a pack or more, whatever, it doesn't matter. I think even the law would stand by that. That like, well, yeah, well, they could do what they want with it. They bought it from you, right? So, yeah, I think most of cannabis, at least in California and some of the states that are more developed, yeah, the strain thing is kind of wide open. Like, I don't know of anything you really can't. Sometimes there's certain things that are a little elusive for a little bit. But if you really set out, oh, if somebody said, oh, Blue Zusi or whatever, there's a few, you started making some inquiries, you better get it. Somebody has it and is willing to give it because that's just the way we've changed in the last 10 years for sure.
I was given 4 plants the other day. I went to an event here in Cleveland, and it was put on by one of the guys that does quite a bit of stuff down at the state capitol in Columbus. So I went to his event, and I ran into some old friends there, and it was like, hey, I don't have a dumpster, but I kind of need that because I've got a couple things that are crossed into dumpster, and I'd like to take that and cross them back into dumpster again. So, yeah, I was given a couple plants. That was pretty cool.
Now, it's been a lot of years since I did this, but especially after I won the cup in 2014, for a couple years, I'd sell trays of clones, 50 clones, for $5 a clone. I thought that was fair considering the amount of time and effort. And like it was back then, it was like 22 cents. Sorry about the train. 22 cents a cube and a week of rooting. And okay, okay. Yeah, so I guess I
Yeah,
sold
$5 was okay.
I never got more than $5 a clone, and that was just for my time and effort. And that was to like somebody that like wanted 50 or something, but to my homies and friends or my peers, yeah. Now, sometimes people enter our circle that have different views, but they usually don't last long. Because, like, yeah, you look out for each other. Everybody goes through ups and downs. Shit happens. You lose all your shit. Oh, well, and then that's when you turn to those people to get stuff back. And hopefully they have it. If not, oh, well.
Or they have it, they just don't want to give it back.
Well, I don't know. Like, be honest. You got to be careful who you fucking are, like,
Okay.
friends with.
So I told you, you know, I like really narcotic weeds. This one, god damn, I wish I could get the light better on this. This one isn't quite pure indica. It's an NL5 crossed with an Afghani. And I think there's even a Kush thrown in there too. But this was some of the flower I was given.
Ultimately, I just realized this. One of my things, and yeah, the people that I call my peers or like my homies,
Man,
whatever,
it smells
friends
dank.
that have been 10, 20, 30-year relationships, part of how it works and the people that don't fall into this, we're all trying to make money. Yeah. Yeah, but no, that's never part of like our relate like yeah, everyone has their own thing. Like even jumping customers or whatever you call all that. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm just old and like, oh, yeah, I don't have time for people like that. I
Yes.
People that know me well know I use this term a lot. So I think like, oh, you're either one of these people or you're not. And legal cannabis and cannabis has always been filled with what I call money grubbers.
Hmm.
Grub, like grubbers. Is this a term I made up or I use? Yeah, and that like if you don't understand what that means, like yeah, you got to watch that. Like the
Yeah.
plant, you got to keep a certain relation. Yeah, it's okay. Everyone's got to make a living. Get that. But there are these other like schemes or people that look at it as like, oh, their only reason to be in it is because of money,
Hmm.
right? Money grubbers. Like, yeah, I stay away from those people. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the weed scene. If there wasn't any money in it, you'd never see them with a weed plant.
Look, I like
Smoke
money.
them,
I like
No,
they wouldn't grow them,
money.
they
I
wouldn't do
get
shit.
all that, but yeah, yeah, I don't know how to explain it other than you know. And some people, as they get older, get with it, and other people are just like. And I realized in the last so many years where so and so shut down or people got out of the game. The, yeah, I remember feeling bad for a couple of them, and then realizing, yeah, they were just in it for the money. And when the money thing changed, they were over it, like because they were never in it for anything beyond that, right? And okay, good riddance. Like, yeah, times are getting tough. The first thing we need to do is get rid of the money grub.
That'd be nice.
Just an observation. But times it's like, yeah, we're like a dog eat dog, and money's like, fuck, fucking disposable. You need lots of it just to get by. Like have basic things, have anything nice. Yeah, everyone's on their quest for having the best life, and that takes, unfortunately, money. So it's a fine line, but oh, there's a line.
there's a guy here in Cleveland, and my friend tried to get me to be friends with him. He put a free seed day on, didn't tell anybody, and when they got there, it was like $20 at the door, and there were nobody there with their packs of seeds or anything. They were just in a bag. And he had like three people set up. One person had shirts, one person had candles, and one person had baked goods, but they weren't infused. So we used it as a talking point. But I seen him, he had a table set up at this And I just walked right past him. It's only in it for the money. Now he's got my friend's grape Death Star, and he's whoring it out, crossing this, crossing that with it. And my friend's bitching that he's doing it. And I'm saying, dude, why do you think 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, I was telling him, no, no, you're not getting any of this shit from me
And
because he's
ultimately,
only in it after the money.
there is a currency above money. That's called good energy and karma and love and all that shit. And yeah, like that will get you way farther than actual money. Yeah, at least that's what I believe. Sometimes I question it. Sometimes it's you go through ups and downs, but nah. I've tried as I get older, I wish I saved better and all that, but yeah, I've tried to live a life where I wasn't like money wasn't my main focus. And I think, yeah, it's harder to be that way. I get it. As the new generations are raised up in these times, yeah. And most of cannabis is like a business, and
It's all a
everyone wants to make
business.
money. Yeah, I I would remember. It's like I started being a deadhead in the late '70s. There were these old timers that were around in the '60s, and they used to argue with. If you remember this guy Bill Graham? He was a promoter extraordinaire from the Bay Area and the West Coast, and they would. The basis of their argument was, yeah, remember when it was free at Golden Gate Park or in the Panhandle, or because when the Grateful Dead first started in the early '60s, they had all these free events. And I remember Bill Graham because he would like come out to the argue with people in the crowd in the scene. They're not really argue, debate. They weren't arguments, debates. Yeah, I wish I could quote the things he used to say, right? But yeah, there's you know, yeah, things can't be free forever.
No.
But a fair price is an equitable thing.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I came
like
back
just
and
a few
one
years ago,
dollars turned into $10. A $10 bill turned into 20, and a 20 turned into 50.
well, just in the last 3, 4 years, through whatever means, some people contributed to it, or some of it's just the way it is. Uh, yeah, seed packs used to be like $200, even more, 150, 100, whatever. And there's still a few people that get that or ask that. Not many. And I considering,
I do.
and I don't even make seeds, but I know, holy shit, a plant or two can make a shitload of seeds. Okay, like even to the logic of like
Or not.
why I thought $5 was a fair price for a clone, because yeah, what did I really put into it, right? Like, okay, yeah,
But
hour.
did you really select the one that's best for your room, though?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean,
There
I
could
don't
have been
really
4 or 5
like,
different females. One could have
yeah, I
fit your
mean,
room
it was only a
perfectly.
thing. I remember winning the cup in 2014, and when I went back to the same event in 2015, in the back of our Suburban, I had about 800 clones. Like one guy from Humboldt wanted 300, one guy wanted 50, 100, and on load-in day uh, of the event, yeah, because the strain won the year before. Yeah, uh, I probably could have charged more. We probably could have at least got 10 easily without being that. But somehow I was just like, yeah, all right, $5. That's good. Fair price.
And 100 of them, shit, that fills a room.
Yeah. And I mean, isn't that Josie Wales kind of in a way his story with GG4, right?
It
Like
was $150 a cut for the original GG4. Now the
from him?
Gorilla Glue that he had, that was $50 a cut. And the ones that we got in Michigan have a chocolate flavor to them.
Yeah, I mean,
But the GG4 in Michigan was
here's the
like
thing.
the second time he released them
Even when
at a
GG4
cup.
hit the scene, brewers and the profits off of weed, yeah, 150 was fair price, right?
I got $50. I delivered my friend clones and he said I needed 50 clones. So I brought him 65 clones. I called him up and I said, "Hey, I've got 12 people here wanting to pay $50 a clone. Can I sell 12 of them for you?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah."
But then I also remember there were other people that hit me up, other growers, where especially when I let them know, yeah, what, you just want one? Yeah, okay, here, I'll give you one. Uh, I respected those people in this different way because whenever I've got a
I'll
clone,
sell you.
I just started with the one clone. 2, 3 months later, I have fucking a whole jungle of it, right? Uh, that's all you need is the one clone, right? So I always question why people wanted to buy 50 or 300 when they could just get one and make their own. And that, everyone has different methods, but all I ever wanted was one. Just give me the one.
Now,
I'll be good.
I'll sh-
That's all I
I'll
need.
show you the reason why I get two. And they're both in these two cups here. And on the way home, I snapped the top of it off and I couldn't get it to clone back. So
Yeah.
that's why I buy two of everything except for the dumpster. Sour diesels. Well, I bought more sour diesels, but these are the lithium
For
cups.
the longest time, I took like X percentage more clones than I ever needed, always. And yeah, I had some of them were smaller tent growers, so they just would get more clones, friends of mine and stuff. But like, and they knew this too. Yeah, that enabled me if I took 150 and I only needed 100. Yeah, I would pull like before anything happened, I'd pull the best 100 for myself, and then whatever was left was open for whatever. Sometimes period of time would go by. Okay, well, they're old now and toss them away. But yeah, that was part of it. You need to take an extra amount, not all clones are even though it's the same genetic. Like even the last 2 days, I totally got the veg ready. We're harvesting the room on weekend. And there were groups of all the different, like 20, 30 of this, 20 of this. And even I kind of saw a couple of them, but there were a couple that until they got crowded. And then I basically went from Rosa 6 to Rosa 4, spread them out for the last week. Yeah, there, and that is like my routine. There were ones that got stunted out, or the ones that got bigger around it starved them out, right? And so, oh, it's not it's just it's a happy plant. It's going. It's got roots, but it's didn't get the right size because the other things grew, got crowded out. And then those become like, yeah, I moved those to the one tray that because even in that plant count, there's the extras. And some of that is you can't make too many extras, but then you're overcrowding yourself. But I've always had like, yeah, I I, I only need 18 plants per tray. That's it. 3 by 6. Oh, I usually take like 23, 25, take the clone. Even out of those, one or two of those might not go or not be looking good enough to move on. And then, even the other day, I got down to 18 of these, 18 of these, 18 of these, and grouped them and took the best of those. And then the other one, like the next cycle of moms or redundancy. Because like what's weird about those, we never take clones. We take clones from the next round, like the fresh round. Those are just like redundant. Like, yeah. And even, yeah, since Saturday, I wrote it down. I called 17 nice plants. Like I just fucking went in there. I finally was in the mood. I got my flip the thing, just bam, 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 to make room for changing it from rows of 6 to rows of 4, and then took the rest of them and basically, I could show you, cut them all the way back, cut it the whole plant off. Just left a few little whisper branches that were under because I already know, like in another week or so, holy shit, those are going to be like you won't even recognize that you did that. And those are like on the chopping block because the extras that the ones that weren't big enough that I designate as
I
moms,
love that.
they're gonna take need that space. And not even the space, because at times it's not the space, it's the power. Like, yeah, if I can turn off 6 lights for a week or two, that's good. In veg at least. And so there's times when, like, yeah, redundant. You can have all these plants and then and nutrients and time and everything. But there's this certain safety you feel with them because if something happened, which could, you can always turn to those. And things have happened where, yeah, I can't say we never take clones from them. Sometimes, yeah, the, the they're not in the right schedule
Hmm.
because I have that one bedroom, two, one slightly smaller flower room than the other, and then I have sheets where I write week 1, week 2, the whole thing, the date, the recipe, and each run gets its own sheet. Me and my partner were going through the nut. That's He was trying to figure out, oh, when is this? When I was like, oh, here's the sheets, and then I realized, yeah, like I'm like, even though there's 2 rooms, I'm exactly 1 month apart. It wasn't always that way. It was really easy to get off of that perpetual. Like I look at it, not as complicated as a watch with all the gears going around, but it's similar. And perpetual. There's the single perpetual, and then there's double perpetual. at my old place, I had one room that each tray was 1 week apart, right?
Yep.
I don't know what I was thinking. I never really had that dialed in because that was like too complicated. Oh, there were times, and then there was times they were too tall. There was times this, but and when I look back, the reason I did that was when I got it down to just having one trimmer working for me still, 17 years at that time, still works for us. So going on 20 now or 18 or 17, 19. And they'd grown up like shit. They worked at our fruit stand when they were in high school where we didn't even let them know we smoked weed. And then when they, even though we were friends with their parents and sold weed to their parents, uh, until they came 18. And then we were like, oh, yeah, you want extra work? So from the time someone was 18, right out of high school, like start working. And then life changed for them too, and the amount of work and money. So for them, well, it was a conversation they had with me where, yeah, if I could have them work like that 1 or 2 days every week, that'd be better than like the 4 or 5 days every month. And I was like, yeah, it was mainly because otherwise I'm going to have to get a real job. And then I don't know if I'm going to be able to have like 5 or 6 days to do your work. And I remember when I only had one big ass cycle years ago, it was harder to I have that working
God.
relationship with workers because when they would come and finish all this work and be like, yeah, what? I'd be like, yeah, I'll call you in a couple months. Because it'd be a couple months, 60, 70, 80 days before there'd be any other work. And then over the years, I realized you want to have like people that stay with you long term and you like have you count on flexible time and trust. Yeah, and then you got to like work with them. And so some of those, I remember it screwed up my whole business because I used to have the not really because I hate dealing with I like dealing with anything like 5 or less. Those guys I love that that's easy. When you deal with 5, 10, 15, whatever, it's this different thing where in the past the, that person wouldn't want to even disrespect the grower in any way because well you were getting that much. He was already giving you more than everybody else, like price wise. They wouldn't negotiate. They wouldn't dare because yeah, the we had the upper hand on things then. You wouldn't want to maybe lose that connection, right? Today, oh no. Even a couple of them, they're pros. I call them brokers. Like like even though you're not gonna like actually get the money counted and handed to you till the whole thing's said and done. Just like you put the shit on the table, they put that out. Like it's like ultimately, I realized one time I had to eat mushrooms and I was sort of tripping and I was doing this deal. And then I analyzed it where I realized, yeah, he knows I want that, right? He's got what I want, and then I have like, and mainly because we just me and Gary talked about because I unloaded 15 at like whatever price, and he's like, dude, like, but I'm that way because even some of my customers, they they'd probably say this if they were honest. They when you negotiate with me, I capitulate, right? Even though I'm not happy about it, and it might make a difference on the next deal, what I'm going to do with you, or price you, or even maybe not deal with you. But when
Hmm.
someone does that, all right, well, all right, how about whatever off, right? Whatever numbers, and I'd be like, no, I hem and haw a little, but ultimately I look back and go, yeah, I always just capitulate and go, all right, fuck it, here, just give me the fucking money, get the fuck out of here. And I'm not happy where I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't have fucking, because I could have done, oh, homeboy would have taken this and that. I didn't need to fucking do that. And they got the better of the deal, right? Where when I was younger, I loved that. I was like, oh, I love the negotiation. I was a broker, kind of. As I gotten older, I don't have patience for that shit anymore. Like, I've had so many of those conversations, and certain people, they're younger, they're from a different generation. I realize I can't blame them and hate them. Most of them are my friends. That's their job. Like, like my job is to grow the shit. Their job is to take this money and make money with it. Okay.
Flip it.
and and so you can't blame them for like trying to knock 50 off or 75 off each one, or go, oh, and I could go like, yeah, no, take it or leave it, and and walk away. That's what you have to do, right? Even my one friend, oh, I've done that a few times, and then still capitulate, because like that doesn't mean they're going to walk away. Then they're just going to start talking to you again. And even though these conversations might only be 10 or 15 minutes long, they're not like hour-long debates. It's the same fucking thing. Like, I've heard that so many times. Like, why can't it be like what we said, like what I said? Like, why can't it just be as simple as that? Oh, okay, you want this? Okay, here. For like 20 years, that's how it was. Because, yeah, this is how I feel. Been a grower 35, 4 years. Solely make my living from it. 20 of those years, the actual grower of the week was the top of the whole food chain, the cannabis game. I lived it. I enjoyed that. I didn't abuse it. I know some friends that were fucking head tripping and all that with the power that
Rock
came,
stars.
right? But then today, holy shit, dude, I think of fucking bud tender, or like for sure breeders, just about every other position in the business has a higher ranking. The grower of flower is like the lowest.
Paid
we're,
employee.
yeah, we're like that. They just shit on us, walk all over us, have some ridiculous pricing scheme that basically totally dishes us, right? And we just accepted it, and that's like that's been like a hard thing. Like when I realized, yeah, you used to have like a certain prestige with being like, a grower at scale. Like like it was a hell of a position. Not many people had it. Uh, Today it's like it's nothing. That's like the low rung of the ladder system. I laugh about it, but yeah, if you walk through, been in my shoes, most some of my friends, old friends, they're fucking bitter as fuck about it. They got out of it, and they hate everything about it. The who is like what it became, like chip on their shoulder. I get it. Like, especially if you like were humming along for 10, 15 years, and Your whole existence was like set, you thought. And then it just came, whoop, they just pulled the carpet out from under you. That's what
They got
happened.
they got a chip on the shoulder on their shoulder, and they got the rest of them in their stomach.
Well, bottom line
Oh,
is
my work
just
shirt's
simple
stain
terms.
resistant.
In like the last 10 years, without a doubt, I mean, this is simple math. In 10 years, as a grower, we've lost 75% of the value. So if you took any other product, other products in manufacturing and a whole bunch of industry have had this happen to them over the decade, right? That's globalization and China, all the different things the world's in, especially in the United States. We've lost a lot of all that.
Workforce,
Yeah, no,
technology.
it shouldn't be a surprise that this happened to cannabis. And what's the common thread in all of those situations? What I call Wall Street. The investor class that like works a certain system to create this, for they can extract as much money out of it as they can. And I don't think like the growers or the cannabis people, no, this isn't the way. No, but we're being influenced by that more than we think. Even like out in the black market, it's like we're like against them in some ways, but no, things they're doing are affecting the wheels, the watch, the Swiss watch, yeah, and they're extracting the money and the value out. Yeah. I think at some level, the biggest plays are that they already know that they're going to buy at a certain point. The conglomerate, one or two or whatever, are going to buy every brand that's worth anything, and then squeeze out the rest of them. Well, if things were like on this upward trajectory, like it could be, then those brands would be valued at like billions of dollars, possibly hundreds of millions. Oh, at the current time, they're going to finally fix the law and all this, and federally and whatever, and it's going to be this thing. And Wall Street's going to have done their thing. When the big buyouts come out, it's going to be at prices way less than what. Yeah, they're going to get to buy shit for less than what they're really worth. I think so.
Okay, I got something to break this up. My friend in Thailand just sent me this. And you remember when I tell you that, in Thai, the same word just pronounced a little bit differently means something different? I'm going to play this girl's IG post that she put up. So it should be okay. And let you guys hear this.
Sucky, sucky, $5.
And what that means is, who sells the chicken eggs, is what she was saying.
St. Patrick.
So to
St.
say
Patrick?
that, she had to use all those words that are just, they're the same words, they're just pronounced a little bit differently. That's why Thai is so fucking hard. It's all tonal.
All right.
And if you and your wife or your girlfriend have $4,000, you could go there for a month and enjoy the hell out of it. For both of you, 4,000.
Mrs. D wouldn't like Thailand. Too hot for her, unfortunately.
The only thing that's too hot for me are some of the women.
Ah,
I can't wait to get back before Songkran. Then I can have a girl for Songkran.
oh. Hey, Stony
Oh
Creek.
yeah, I got passed around kind of before I left Chiang Rai. Oh, you're going back to take care of father. We won't see you for a while. So yeah, if anybody's in the Paynesville, Menor area of Lake County, you can come see me at Custard and Mustard out in Paynesville.
Here in mustard.
I always
Hey,
have a couple joints rolled in the car. I've got the easy job that if I get pissed off, I can just walk outside and smoke a joint and won't get fired.
okay. G'day, Kate. G'day, Stony.
Cheers, everyone.
Oh,
The whiskey went.
J5. I used to look like J5. Go for it, Cap.
Well, the Whiskey and Weed Wednesday takeover is still in effect.
Ah, wait a minute. It's not me. Hi, Sandy. Big ups. One love, man. Lady boys. Okay.
Wow. Got to find more mason jars.
Okay. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, that's right.
How long has that been in the refrigerator? One, two, 3, 4 hours. Damn.
I need to make a coffee.
I should have let my cavadels and meatballs just sit out. I knew I was going to get hungry after eating.
Uh,
So that bud I showed you, when you smoke it, it gives you like a really heady head high. And then as you get 10 to 15 minutes into the high, you start to get kind of like goofy, a little bit more body relaxation.
mm-hmm.
So it does work with the muscle spasticity. It don't do much for the pain though. I think I'm gonna have to go to Michigan to actually get medication. State of Ohio's fucked. There's literally hospitals in the state of Ohio that will not prescribe you narcotic pain medication. And they have pain management clinics. Well, who the hell are you helping at these clinics? You're just trying to destroy people's lives and their stomachs.
Yeah.
You know, fatten up people's pockets, give them what people need, and let them go on.
Take it and go.
No, well, I've waited like 3 weeks to find this out. And luckily, I got a hold of a nurse that knew what she was talking about. And I said, well, basically, you told me that these hospitals don't give out this medication. And I said, well, I spent 30 days in ICU, and the only one we haven't talked about. So they've got a stack on me that's 3 feet thick. So
I
that's
spent
where I got to go.
6 hours in the emergency room yesterday. Like, I don't think I've been to a hospital emergency room in like fucking 30 some years. It was like even though it was a long time, I couldn't believe like, all the different fucking piles of fucking chairs. Oh, move here. Okay, move here. And then finding the doctor. And then even the last hour, I was just gonna leave because the doctor already told me and basically I had to wait for the paperwork. And I'd been there long enough that I figured out, yeah, these two ER techs in this office, they do the paperwork. And I I just patiently waited because there were enough people fucking bugging the shit out of them. And it was the craziest group of people, right? Like, first off, I feel good today. But I remember a couple hours into it thinking, this is where I'm going to get sick. There were people walking in there going, I think I have COVID. I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck? I went there because my heel of my foot has been like, it's like a bruise. Like, but it's been like 3 weeks. It hasn't gotten better. And I can barely put pressure on it. I can't pronounce what they say I have. It's called plantar some. Yeah, okay. Now, they're weird enough, even though there's people with heart, chest breathing problems, this, that, a couple stitches. During this thing, you saw all the same people, about 20 of us, 25 of us. There was 3 other people there that had their foot fucked up. One lady definitely had like a break or sprain. 2 other people looked like they were like drug people problems in one of their legs had swollen up like abscess or some shit. But I'm pretty sure I just listen, watch. I'm like a people watcher. It was entertaining. Dude, even people you wouldn't think looked like they were like drug seeking. Like some of them were regulars there. Like, and yeah, everyone was trying to get Norcos or Oxys or whatever the fuck. Okay. And the doctors basically have like a whole little thing they say and they fucking tell you, oh, over the pain. They were willing to give you 600 Moltrins like candy, but that's it. Okay. And yeah, I realized like, yeah, there's all these people, whether they really need it or not, seeking out, like, because there was an epidemic. Like, you might have been living in Thailand when it really got bad here 5, 6 years ago. Yeah, the pharmaceutical companies and the system abused it and fucked up a whole bunch of people with painkiller opiates and shit. And this is the repercussions of it.
And you know what's the really bad thing? Is I thought about flying into San Francisco.
Oh no, forget
because
California, dude.
But I could get what I need and not have to worry about going to a doctor's office for years.
Well, okay, that's what a lot of people have done, and yeah, there's risk in that. Holy fuck! But I have a friend. I've said this before. He just retired after 35 years of public defender at the same county courthouse. So he's like a legit guy, even though he's cool and smokes weed and parties. But he's a public defender. I don't know. He's sort of overweight. I don't know what you call what he has, but literally he walks with a fucking cane and like is in serious pain. It's he's treatments, nerve this and that, and blah blah blah. And they cut his fucking ass off. My other
Damn.
friend, he was in a wheelchair. Uh, he's a cannabis grower. I first met him at the hydro store. Yeah, he used to get like 60 oxys a month or whatever the fuck. He's in a wheelchair with like deteriorating. I don't know all the medical terms, but really a person that you should have access to pain medicine. Both these cases. So
I
there's
mean,
like
the government came
because
out
they
and
abuse this thing, there's the real people. Now you could
can't
say
get
the
it.
same thing happened in cannabis because like there is like a certain segment, in especially California, in 215 that were medical patients, right? And then all of a sudden, the system gets abused. In my mind, rec and all these things, and basically we've wiped out the medical thing, right? Yeah, this is common. And this is how they play. And when you get into farce, who really made all the money and all that? Wall Street and these certain people and the stocks that they were able to capitalize on when these major places were like selling millions of fucking pills and exploiting the system. And then now we have like the repercussion of that because like even my one friend explained why doctors like the one guy's been his doctor forever and understands. But the doctor said that first off, it's a triplicate, meaning that, I have to do this, and then I have to have a triplicate, and I have to file that, and then the DA are going to audit my annually, right? Beyond that, then when it gets to the pharmacy, these are because now this might only be in California, like forget CVS and the major ones because they don't
They
even
don't
stock
cover
it.
my medication.
They barely stock it, and then they put up their own roadblock. Okay, meaning they want to double check, and they're going to actually like say to the doctor's office because there's laws that you can't like it's only can be prescribed for short-term pain, not long-term pain. Right? They changed the laws, right? And then now
Yeah.
that system is pretty damn tight. And yeah, it's a triplicate. You could probably get a doctor to write you a script for cocaine easier than you could an opiate.
That is definitely for sure.
People don't realize, yeah, you
But
can get
don't
these
don't
mayonnaise
ask
jars
for
from Coke
Valium with
that is
that.
like pure fucking flake cocaine. That's still a product, right? It's triplicate and all that, but like the triplicate thing is the main thing because then it has to be this whole process, right? And that they made laws that if you're a doctor, you have to follow. So most doctors have just taken the easy way and like don't want to mess with it because even if a patient needs it or is appropriate, too much bullshit, paperwork, all this stuff. They literally, I heard the doctor say it to so many people. They explain to you that if you take Advil or it's generic, and then take Tylenol, like a one and then the other, one and then the other, in 4 hour increments. They have studies. They have this whole thing. They say there's studies that show that that's more effective than an actual opiate
Bullshit.
thing. Okay, okay, but this is their their stance, and it didn't happen overnight. But they had a lot of fucking strung out people, right? But then how the system, the, the hearings and the breakdown of the whole pill mill era, which was just an. I've lived long enough to where I wasn't really, but yeah, I was a baby in the early 60s, coming out of the 50s. Housewives would take bennies and
Benzos.
reds. They were diet pills, okay? And then that became a problem, and then that went away, right? And then somewhere in my teenage years,
Little yellow heifer.
Lemon and Royer made Quaaludes, and they were abused like crazy, right? And there's always been, it seems like the pharmaceutical industry um, goes through these cycles. And yeah, like who's really the biggest drug dealer in the world? Not the cartel and the drug dealers, the actual pharmaceutical industry. And they've done some horrendous stuff over the years. I'm sure they're cooking up a new one. I mean, I already hear. At first, I didn't know what all the jokes were, but I can't even remember the name. But there is some like new speed diet pill thing called a Zemblix or something like that. A lot of the Hollywood people are
Ozempic.
denying that that's how they lost
No,
all this
that's a
weight,
muscle
whatever.
stomach.
And Adderall, and there's no, yeah. And I'm sure right now they're researching and trying to cook up the next fucking thing. And if with certain law changes, scheduling and different things, yeah, the pharmaceutical industry is going to like take its piece of cannabis medicine, right?
Yeah. When everybody decides to uh, legalize it, soon as they
Maybe some
legalize
pill
it,
that
then
has,
the FDA is
the,
going to
the
move in,
CBD and
and
this,
that's
that, and the
it.
other, the proven things that do, what do you call it? Anti-inflammatory, right? And yeah, a lot of those are probably better than the available things, or they'll just add it. I'm sure at one point there'll be like a fucking aspirin that also has cannabis uh, uh, components in it. Components. It's not
Yeah,
like they're going to go, oh yeah, here's the whole
molecules.
entourage. No, they're going to like isolate certain components, and then, oh, this is for 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 inflammation. This is
Right
for this.
there.
This is for that.
Yes.
And most likely, most of those won't be that effective. They'll be profitable.
They may even kill some people.
Instead of realizing, because if they really like went at cannabis wholeheartedly and in good faith, it would put all their other bullshit medicines in jeopardy of losing market share. Because like I'm pretty sure you could treat a lot of basic mental health things. Now there are extreme mental health things, no question. That I don't know if like cannabis could even exasperate, right? But but basic ones, anxiety, depression, like, uh even manic, all kinds of things. Yeah, but they sell all these other drugs that are way more profitable, and they don't want to lose that. So they're not like, yeah, even if, some company, it's capitalistic thing. Some company will go, but those big companies aren't gonna. They're gonna try to hold the line and sell lithium and Prozac. Because then I don't know a lot, but I know one thing: when they design a drug, how cheap they can make it out of what basic byproducts and salts, and the cheapest fucking thing is an important thing, right? Like, yeah, they don't even put a tenth of a penny or a penny in the pill, but they want whatever dollars per pill. They're bad. The, but in some ways, there's enough good trickled in there because if you're ill and need doctors and medicine, though they have some stuff that is life changing or keeps people alive or does stuff, but most of their shit's really bad. I think we all know that.
Yeah. To tell you the truth, with the doctors that I've seen here in Ohio, they don't even want to look at my medical records. They don't want to even look at the paper that has 23 allowed conditions that make me permanently disabled by the state of Ohio. They don't want to look at my MRIs. They don't want to look at my x-rays. They just want to look at me and judge me. That's why I wear short hair. And if it's a new doctor, I don't go in high, especially in Ohio, because they still have that one or the other. And I'm going to say, no, I don't have an Ohio medical card.
Well,
I have been smoking some because it's rec.
Yesterday was when I finally called my primary care doctor, which I knew this, the earliest appointment. Now there's a chance of cancellations. This was yesterday and Monday is next Monday.
3 months.
A Monday. Right? I'm on the fence, but no, now I know I can't go because I'm on the list for Billy Strings at night at the Greek, Berkeley, great venue. And then the Emerald Cup not only is in the day, it's at night too, but I won't be there at night, is and not just anywhere. Santa Rosa was cool. This year it's at Oakland, but not just in Oakland, it's at Henry J. Kaiser. Okay. Grateful
Which
Dead
is
in the
Golden
Kaiser
Gate Park.
Auditorium, and that park is like a huge part of Grateful Dead legacy. From like 79 on, we would do New Year's run there, 5 nights, Chinese New Year. We do runs there, like 5-show runs, multiple times a year. And they let everyone camp. Lake Merritt is this lake thing, and there's this park and this whole area around the auditorium. And yeah, that used to be the most epic scene, like a week of mayhem in this park. And Bill Graham used to put it on, and yeah, everyone just, there were hotels. I didn't camp there, but the scene went 24 hours. Yeah, so the Emerald Cup is at Kaiser.
That's cool.
Which a lot of people, and that's things I read, everyone's sort of, people that are going there that aren't from the area heard so much about Oakland and, worried about parking their car. Yeah, Oakland's pretty rough. It's not, over by Kaiser, not really that way, but all right. You go a few blocks the other way, you better watch your P's and Q's. But yeah. So I
in
really
Detroit.
Go to the Emerald in the daytime, and then take off and go see Billy Strings. And
so in Michigan, they called them the Dab Wars. And it was once a week at this establishment. And there was literally a guy outside because I set up there selling clones a couple times that for like 15 bucks, 20 bucks, he'd watch your car. You could leave it unlocked and it'd still be there by the time you got out. He like ran those blocks right around there. So everybody like gave him money because it was in one of those tight places of Detroit that you come out and your tires are gone in 5 minutes.
Okay, so I was seeking drugs when I went there, not painkillers. I read on the internet. I already kind of knew it might have been this thing called whatever fasciitis, whatever. Yeah, one of the treatments that if you can get it done will relieve the pain, and it's kind of short term, but it works. Is they shoot you up with cortisone around your heel, right? Because if I was going to go to the Emerald Cup and then go up to the Greek for Berkeley 2 nights, or I need to walk a lot, period. End of story. And no, I'm like compromised. Now, I've lived and made it do. I one time was on tour where on the first night of the tour in Ventura, I was up on the soundboard, which was on the scaffolding. He went up this ladder, and then on the way down, I slipped and literally fractured my ankle. It was swollen like a softball, and that was the first night of summer tour. And I went like I think it was in Kansas or somewhere in the Midwest. Like halfway through the tour, I finally went to emergency room. Like, yeah, you fucking broke your ankle, and that it's going to be harder to set, and this and that. And they put it in a cast, and I finished the tour. But I was like 20, maybe. That happened in 85 or 84, one of those years. I was young, 21 or something. Today, yeah, I'm old. Even on a good day, that much walking would be a lot. But with some kind of fucked up heel, flanked, I can't, like, they say the name of it right here. You said it. It's a common thing. I don't know what I did. I all of a sudden 3 weeks ago, I was like, "What? What's wrong with my foot?" I thought I had a piece of glass or a pebble or something in my heel. It felt like my heel is bruised. And then I started taking it easy and thought every morning I thought, oh, most times I've hurt myself. Yeah, a couple days later it starts getting better. Now finally 3 weeks, then basically what made me go to the doctor was, yeah. Now I know I could hit up one of my friends and get whatever and probably not be in any pain, but then I also know, oh, you might not feel the pain, but now you could be creating an ailment that stays with you because you abused it when you should have. Because the one thing that they said yesterday at the emergency room was keep it elevated, ice it, all that, stay off it. But they wouldn't even give me cortisone. They're like, wow, go to the primary care doctor. Like, I hate how the system works. But I saw other people there getting shit out of them, but they were much more persistent than I was. I just went, all right, I guess, whatever you say. I'm not going to argue with them.
Well, at least I'm lucky, like I said, when they've life flighted me to that hospital. I'm one of the reasons why they're the top facial reconstructive hospital, because I was one of the early test patients. They spent 13 and a half hours on my face.
Yeah, but how many years ago was that?
That was 1994.
Okay, that's 30 years.
This is 30
Uh,
years, September
the
16th.
chances that a single person still works there from that time is low. There might be a couple. Uh, yeah, the whole
It's
world
in the
turns around in that.
computers.
Well,
Yeah,
right.
but
Well, yeah, medical
all,
records they keep forever. Yeah.
yeah. And then I have all the new ones, and they're a hospital, so they better have a CD drive.
But the whole game of medicine has changed. That's what I mean. Like, and like out here, I don't know. There's a thing where the doctor can put a code in your medical file and the pharmacy called drug seeking behavior, right? And once you get labeled that, oh well, good luck. You're done. And
Yeah,
it's
but
easy to
see,
get that.
here in the state of Ohio, when they punch me up, I'm punched up still as a licensed narcotics user
But
for
it
the
is
state
kind
of
of weird
Ohio.
that like the person that used to just give you drugs for whatever reason you asked for, now saying, oh, yeah, they created you, and now they're like labeling you.
My doctors, you know what they did? They quit prescribing medications and went just into the injections. That's all they do anymore. And I said, okay, do the injections. Workers' comp ain't going to pay you for them because I told them to take the injections, go fuck themselves. Because where they inject me, it actually can debilitate me to where I could hardly walk for 6 months or
Oh my,
use my right shoulder. But they said, oh no, we have this new machine that puts the needles in exactly and everything like that. I said, okay, start with the right side. And I bent the first two needles and they gave up.
like I know in the UAE, the United Emirates, where my girlfriend's at, she had an operation a couple years ago, and then she had another hernia operation. And so the law in that country, they can only prescribe you opiates when you're in the hospital.
Yeah.
Okay. And so like where I had a hernia and like I think it was an hour after the fucking surgery, I was in my car. Well, I wasn't driving because I was still looped and they were sending me home. Okay. She was like in there for like 4 or 5 days each time because she and they had her on a drip and she was so like she's straight. So she was like calling me or FaceTiming me so fucking loaded, right? Because yeah, she had whatever. And I was like, yeah, well, that's what they at least they should do that in our country. But like, yeah, our country's like, what do you call it? Outpatient, basically. You could have like a heart surgery, they'll just send you home like fucking an hour later. Okay.
my my hospital in Thailand, if I wanted, if I really hurt and I needed fentanyl, I would have to check into the hospital and they would administer it to me. And a nurse would come in and check every once in a while on me. And I said, can I have the nurse at my house so I can sleep in my bed? Because
Well,
that's what I really wanted to do was sleep in my own bed and wake up in my own house, not hurting. But they would do it. I just had to stay in the hospital for the night. But they treated Percocet like that. But they gave me shit tons of morphine.
True. Hey, Flora.
Guys up to.
This is it, my man.
Finishing up a little bottle of bourbon.
You whiskey drunk?
Namaste.
Yep, it's Wednesday here in Ohio.
So did any of the tornadoes come close or do damage?
Oh, we were out of power from Tuesday until the other day at 4:30 in the morning. That's why I couldn't come on the show Saturday night. And I did the show from down at the gas station on Tuesday night.
That's true.
And I couldn't do
Now, the weather system moved on.
all the weather system's gone, but all the tree removal is not. We had my mom's cars out past my grandma's house. So we drove down our street, which goes through the park, and then it ends up where like Hall of Fame pitcher Bob Feller and Lemon live. And these are really nice houses, estates, and they've got 3, 4, 8 foot fucking trees down in their yards. They had streets closed for days because the trees. But yeah, it hit us hard. They called it flying debris in the beginning, but it turned out to be a tornado in a couple areas that I don't think they want to admit. The flying debris covers it.
Duh.
We were lucky here. We just had power outage. But we also had 2 trees removed in the backyard that could have been blown over in the storm. But that's like a little valley. But so is Gates Mills and those houses. That's a valley. We call that almost a holler because there's hills on each side of it.
Those hills have eyes. The Emmett Hills.
I found out where one of the park cameras are at. Something's going to happen to that sucker in a couple days. I'm still looking for the one that lights up how fast you're going on the street. They have that camera hidden well. I think some people have fucked with it before.
Uh,
How the fuck do I
that's funny.
my things? I think
What's happening, Laura?
there we go.
That's J5. Putin Fletcher.
Anybody see the Olympics breakdancing with that Australian chick doing she like did a little hop like the kangaroo. It was the worst breakdance ever.
No.
Oh, it's hilarious.
I watched shot put and a hammer and some of the running with my dad. But once it got to like the 4x400, I said, Dad, I can't sit here and watch this. So I went outside the front door and had a cigarette and a joint.
Right. figure it out? Hello?
What?
You figure
Yeah,
it out? GK.
So my mom wanted to go away for a couple days. And before I took this job with our family friend, I said, well, these are the days that I want to be gone, but why don't you take off? It's like 2 weeks before the first time I want to go off. And then it's going to be 3 to 4 days. But you have like the whole week. And then when I get back, and she was like, I can't go anywhere. And it was like, okay, you keep on bitching about it. I give you the times, I give you a couple weeks, take off, get in the car and go. Dad doesn't have any doctor's appointments this week. And since my van doesn't have air conditioning, I can't take him to any of the.
You want to hear a good joke? This
Yeah,
is,
actually, I do.
because Al Franken, the old senator, he's a comedian. He's like a deadhead comedian. So today on this like Zoom call thing, deadhead thing, he said, like straight pan, like if he really, like if it was real, he's like, yeah. Did you guys see today that the Harris Wall health their health plan includes Reds, vitamin C, and cocaine?
I gotta get on that healthcare
I might
plan.
not have done the joke as good as him, but I was like, oh, that was funny as hell, man. I can remember like being a 17, 16, 17, and 1980 at the dead shows. Rankin and he had this sidekick. They were like a comedian duo. And somehow somebody thought it was like this brilliant idea to have like a little bit of comedy before the dead show started.
With Brent.
And they would come out and like the whole crowd would just boo. Because like everyone's tripping, they're ready for fucking 4 hours of Grateful Dead. And somehow these comedians would be telling, like at the time, but you thought were like stupid jokes. It was like, wait, shut the fuck up. The whole crowd would just boo and hiss. You could barely hear them, but they would still do their little stick. I remember thinking, God, that's got to be hard. Like this got to like, and there was this run that was 15 nights. Well, no, 15 nights in San Francisco and then 10 in Radio City. And every night, Bacon and forget the other dude's name. They were like a comedy duo. Would come out and the crowd would just boo and hiss. And they would still do their comedy. And then the dead would start playing. Everyone would forget about it until the next night when they came back out.
Wow, Bud, that was early. That was like 81, 82.
No, 1980.
Yeah.
1980 at the Warfield, and then a couple nights at the Fox in Atlanta, and then 10 nights at Radio City. I didn't go to Radio City or Atlanta, but I was at the Warfield. Oh wait, it wasn't that the Dead were doing their normal 2-set show. Those shows were 3 sets. They did an acoustic set for an hour and then 2 full electric sets. They were like 5-hour shows. And then you had to deal with the comedy in the front end. Yeah.
when I was out in California, I went up to the Fillmore and went over to the Fillmore, I should say. I only had to cross the fucking bay. Went over to the Warfield and seen Warren Haynes. For some reason, I have 2 tickets for that show, and
Well,
only I
you've
went.
been to San Francisco in so many long times. So Market Street, that's where the Warfield is, all the way down to the whole Market Street. The Warfield's like the only business still open. Like there's not it's all closed up. Every business closed up. All market. It's just the Warfield's like, and they only do shows whatever nights a week, and it might as well be boarded up during the day. But yeah, Market Street was already kind of declined, but the history of Market Street, it's like goes back to the fucking gold rush.
Yeah.
Like even Levi's, the main store, the thing was right there for like all those years. Oh, they closed it. A lot of it is because it's $900 or whatever. Yeah, that's not a crime in San Francisco. They're not going to arrest you. The security doesn't. So like those stores, people just walked in and walked out with shit for so long that they just shut them down. Like that's pretty fucked up. That's what it comes down to. I get why if you threw everybody in jail, that's not sustainable either. Okay.
What if they turned that into like New York, the movie?
Well, I think I don't
And they
think
just,
San Francisco and places in California are the only place that has done this. I know some states, oh yeah, you steal a candy bar, you're drinking shoplifting and whatever. I don't know, New York, that's a pretty big place that has as many people and as big a problem as the West Coast cities. Uh, I never heard that they have such a law out there, right? You can't just walk into stores and walk out with $900 and not be a crime.
you'd get shot here in Ohio and Michigan.
Yeah.
I go into a lot of stores now, like convenience stores here in Ohio, and people are carrying right on their hip behind the counter. It's like, okay, you gonna come in and rob me? I'm staying behind glass and a bulletproof counter. Okay.
Forget the name of the case, but in LA, that's one of the things that triggered another set of riots. Was when the
Riots.
Korean store owner shot like, oh, girl tried to rob something small, or maybe wasn't even robbing. I don't know, but then yeah, someone died, and then that kicked off. So like, yeah, store owners, I don't think have the right to do much anymore.
Yeah, well, come here and try to tell some of the store owners about that.
Yeah, I don't know how California got to, like, oh, I'm a fucking lib and think all that shit. But no, some of that's like there's common sense and law and order, even though I fuck law and order, but nah, it's part of society.
$950 shop nonsense though has really killed a lot of businesses. And
Yeah, well, mostly like in the city of San Francisco. One thing when you in the city up there, yeah, there's a lot of people that don't really have cars. They live in these little communities, whether it's the Haight, it's the Fillmore district, it's this district, that. And over the years, like when I first started living up there and staying up there in the early 80s, oh yeah, you had to pay a lot because there was like the liquor store, whatever you call it, the convenience store. And oh yeah, right in front they had fruit and this and that. But over the years, all the retailers started like having places, Targets, and some of them were mini because San Francisco's like not like a lot of uh, space.
Space.
Yeah. But to a lot of those people, that was made life better. You could go buy, things cheaper and better selection and more stuff. Yeah, all that shit got run out for sure. Like some of the brands just shut down everything up there because yeah, $950.
From my village in Thailand, if I walked a half to 3/4 of a mile, I would probably pass one market, two 7-Elevens, and probably
Good Gully Wally G.
15, 20 restaurants.
Oh, we using the juice.
And I lived out in the village. We would call a suburb, but
Well, like, I mean, really, like when I really realized it was when one time I was Diana, that's Mace's wife. They both grew up as kids in Watts and Compton. And one time, since we were talking about Pokemon, and she was talking, she's telling me that, like, yeah, as a kid, we used to have to travel, like, on the weekend. My mom and dad, we'd go, like, because I'm from LA, I knew, oh, that mall, or like, because in that whole area, there were none of these stores. Like, that was like a whole thing as a kid to her, is to go to these other places where they had these stores and all the toys or the Pokemon or whatever the fuck, right? But in her area, there wasn't. Now, like things have changed. Oh, and that's what's really changed a lot of LA's, like, yeah, a lot of those places that have history of being these really hard ghetto, whatever. No, they're like actually good neighborhoods that like families have live in, and oh, they have the Walmart and the Target and all the things that they didn't ever used to have.
actually, since you said that, I'm looking to see, okay, 3 booster packs, 11 promos. Thai language. Because these are different. Okay, this is what I had. Okay, I've got that. I've got that, and I've got the box. But they don't have any prices on them. Fuck. But yeah, I got something for Mace for his Pokemon collection that were only you could only buy them in certain 7-Elevens. They only got 4 each, and you had to have a Thai ID to get them.
Huh.
I even broke down the boxes that they come in and brought those back too. But they're 1 card per pack. There's only 11 cards per set. I don't know what the packs are. I almost opened them at the National and had them graded. But it's so new. All the people that dealt in Pokemon didn't even know what they were. Couldn't even offer me anything because it was completely different to them. They never knew anything. but it's got the Pokemon logo up in the corner and everything. So it's legit. It's not a knockoff. But those are probably $100 or so. I mean, you basically had to be a Thai resident to get them, or a citizen, I should say. I was a resident, a tourist resident, until they changed that law in March. Because I set up my times when I went over, I missed that. So my days would restart. There goes D. Now it's just you and me.
One is here. Oh, it's only 9 o'clock.
Yeah, but it's like 10:30 and I have to be to work at like 9:30 tomorrow morning because I have to do some extra work.
Here's well, I came here today to do. Well, no, I serviced my ACs earlier. What it did, just cleaned them good, closed them out, split units. But then the defoliating on last trade, it's like overdue. That's my goal. But
Shit, bud.
it's
In
hard,
the
like,
last two,
my foot is fucked up, and like certain projects, 5 or 10 minutes on your feet, and I kind of take the weight off of the one foot because it's fucking hurting and throbbing. And defoliating, no, that's like an hour and a half. Gotta like get in there and just do it.
in 5 hours or 20 hours of working, I've had 5 cigarettes in the past 2 days. And I've got 20 hours in so far.
Yeah. Well, the last couple of weeks I realized, holy shit, like one of your feet are fucked up. That's fucked up.
I am so lucky, but back by the grills, they've got that really thick, like cushiony rubber. But yeah, that helps out a lot. I'm just glad I don't have to clean underneath those at night.
Well, like yesterday in the paperwork they gave me that I read, finally realized I do think I know, kind of remember.
Okay.
Didn't fully wake up, and it was like maybe it was sort of a dream. But what do you call it, like when your calf cramps, like when you're sleeping? Have you ever had that happen? It really fucking hurts, and if you
Yeah.
straighten out your legs, it's okay.
No.
Yeah, I kind of might remember in this like 3 weeks ago when all of a sudden my foot started hurting. That might have happened when I was sleeping. Because when I read in the paperwork, they say that's one of the symptoms or one of the causes, calf cramps. And I
I
think,
get them.
maybe I did that because somehow your tendons on the bottom of your foot are like inflamed. And it could get better in a couple weeks, couple months. It's like yeah.
See, I get those, but I mean, I try to move my foot. I can't. And then I'll get some of them where I'll try to move my foot and it's straight out and I can't bring it back. So I have to get out of bed and try to walk around to get it to go away because that calf muscle that ache you get in there. Oh God. Oof. That wakes you up really quick at night.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Other than that, look, I don't know, but that's what they said. And then, okay, this weekend's out of the question. Next weekend is 2 shows in LA that I don't give a fuck if I'm in a wheelchair. I'm going. Which sometimes, out in California, you just can always say that you're ADA. And you don't have to have papers or anything. They'll accommodate you. They'll be like it's usually our right section, depending. But that's like, yeah, I I don't usually like seats or any of that shows. I like to go up front, and that just means you have to stand for like 3-4 hours. I might have to relent and take the handicap seat. And say, all right, I'm injured. I'm on injured reserve.
Well, guys, I've got a call tonight. Everybody have a good one. Peace out. Talk to
Later,
y'all later.
Captain. Have a good one, Captain. Be right back. I gotta go look at the dryer. It seems to be not working for some reason.
Everyone left. All right. Well, I'm just rolling now. Isn't dead air bad? I think someone in the chat should join us. Somebody. That's what I
I gotta take off, guys. Everyone have a good night. My friggin' dryer's not working, so now I gotta take a look at the damn thing.
All right, you have a good night.
Yeah, see everybody tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in to the safety meeting.
All right. All right, just talk. Fuck, I don't know. Ask me a question, please. Do something. If I was to talk, it would be about this Zoom. What is it? Yeah, this group came together today. Well, the event was today. It had a lot of good speakers. That's where I heard Al Franken. It was like jokes, but it was called Deadheads for Camilla, whatever. Family. Uh, it was basically like Wavy Gravy even came out. We did the same thing. There was a thing called Deadheads for Obama. That was the first time the surviving members ever played music from the time Jerry died. The first event was Deadheads for Obama.
The fuck, everybody
Like
left.
a fundraiser.
He's gone. Captain's gone.
Now it's Deadheads for Family, Familia, whatever fucking name.
It's only 9:50, 9:48. Pretty early still. What's smoking on? Cheetah piss?
Well, here's Flora.
You smoking cheetah piss? What are you smoking? I don't know if you can hear me. Can you guys hear me in chat?
Just you and me. Everyone left, Flora. You know, I don't have much to say. I mean, I always have shit to say.
Let's see, is my audio working? Test. Yeah, my audio is working. I can turn it up more.
I think we should convince somebody, even J5, somebody to come join us.
What's up?
You know, I'm just wondering what you think. Like, one, if it did really happen and it passed, which I heard it did, it wasn't like very talked about or but like if they in California made it that the expiration date went from 1 year to 2 years, don't you think that's like something that pretty like might take a few cycle or so months or even a year for the effects of that really to like.
Yeah, and it's only on certain products. So I think the edibles are still 1 year, and like the
Well,
perishable kind of stuff. But the flour, the concentrates, the distillates, some of those creams like the muscle freezes and the balms and the bath
some
bomb.
things probably make sense, but wait, not on flour.
You know, flour is 2 years.
Okay, that's like a major thing. Like that's like, yeah.
I think what it was is because
It just
so many.
becomes like normal. Most customers are like, yeah, they're not that picky. Some are,
I
but
think it
like,
was because though, like they were losing so much money because it's just these people are fighting for shelf space, and there's about 5 brands that take up 95% of the shelf space.
not just the shelf space, the processor space. Like that's part of it. Certain people can get their stuff processed faster than others because they're the bigger players. And if you're a medium, small player, and then when you contact a packaging processing place, oh, they're like, oh yeah, we could get you in 6 weeks from now. Where the bigger players priority, they pay the bigger bill. I heard that's a problem. So like if you're a small, medium-sized thing, then it takes a couple months to get it into distribution, longer than a couple months. But even at best case, like things like that, yeah, that means it has to go from the farm or wherever to facility that is a processor, and it has to be packaged and this and tested and waited. Da, 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 da. Next thing you know, even at best case, it's going to take. Now, there's other ag products and food products that because freshness and all that's part of it. Oh, they have systems that can things get checked and meats are that way. And yeah, things got to hit the shelf quick because they have a shelf life. I guess cannabis is 2 years. No, I've never, no, I don't save weed. It's like if I've come across some weed that somehow was around for a year to 2 years, it's toast.
Yeah, but like I was saying in chat, like I had this buddy Will. He was a musician and he a drummer and he played in San Francisco and all kinds of other bands and shit. And he had some weed that was from the 70s, like the late 70s. And he had it in a jar and it was like totally sealed tight, right? And it was like the late 90s, maybe early 2000s. And I was over at his house and we were having like, we was doing like a dry spell. Nobody, no people, friends were between cycles. I was just an added value reseller at that time. And anyway, buddy's like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we started like cleaning up his house and we found this jar and he's like, whoa. It's like I haven't seen that since like, and like a guy like remembered it and stuff. And we smoked it. It was probably 20 years old or more, and it actually tasted good. And it got us really high. It was
Most
probably,
likely it was
probably
some kind
about
of
a gram bud.
commercial weed as that from back then, right?
What's that?
So it was more of a commercial weed from back then.
Yeah, it was like a commercial weed from like the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, some of that stuff like was different that way. Like
It was fucking good.
and like even you bring up that time and oh yeah, droughts or weed was scarce. Uh, fuck, you just about smoke anything, dude.
Well, fuck, every September there was droughts where I was at in the
Yeah.
Northwest. First end of August, end of
80s and
August,
90s, it was
the middle of
totally
August until like pretty much most of August until like the end of September. There was like a drought every year. It didn't matter how much you stocked up, you'd still run out.
like when we first started in little ghetto houses and apartments, we would only have like 2, 3 lights. They were these small things, but yeah, the value of it, and especially the like, yeah, as an indoor grower way back then, yeah, there were the times when there was all the weed on the market, but most of the year, oh, any little amount of weed was like super valuable, be super in demand. Like you could, and yeah, it just was like this little amount. Like it wasn't, oh, because we also kept so much for ourselves. Um, fuck it would be like that was it. That's all I needed as a kid that age. Like we were rolling. Like we had everything we needed. But then over the time, yeah, I can remember the reasons that I got bigger and bigger was to, yeah, to be at the same place I was at, yeah, the whole way. Like now I think what it is, because there's so many of these gigantic ones. Yeah, that's this other leap that changes everything, which I don't want to take that leap. Like even at this place, there's a ton of space. We could put out more, but like, why put out more? Just cost you more, and then it would be more than you could handle.
But there's a whole side of this industry that just like fucking didn't look at that as part of it, like the scarcity of the product, any of that. Seems like we just made every wrong decision over the last like really it's only 6 years. It's 8 years since we passed in California we passed rec, but it took them just about 2 years to enact it, 2018. And sometimes I wonder because it's like 6 years, and what 2 of those were super affected by whatever the fuck COVID or whatever the fuck. Like, if that didn't happen, what kind of trajectory would it been on as a whole? Like the cannabis industry, like that had some effects. I think it gave like I don't know what it did. I know like seems now it's only like, oh, if you really are licensed and want to like make a dent, you got to go in there with like tens of millions of dollars just to get going.
The guys that have the micro stuff, the micro grows and shit, like the only way those guys are going to make any money is if one of their buddies owns a dispensary and decides that they're going to want it on their shelves.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the license that would give the most chance of success, only a few people have, and you can't get them anymore. Is like the vertically integrated thing.
Oh yeah. That's a
Right.
yeah.
Now,
Like,
well, wait, why isn't that like
no, that's legacy only. That's SB 420 and
yeah, okay.
they're part of
Now
LA.
that to me seems like, oh, they did something that basically hindered the ability to have like,
And that's only in certain cities also.
I mean, if that license was easily attained, you could have like a relatively medium-sized grow and a storefront, like be able to go direct.
Oh yeah,
right?
but it's not designed for the little guys, it's designed for the big guys.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, oh, and then so many of these things just sort of happen. And like, now we're stuck with the consequences of them. But like, yeah, it seems like none of them are not like, when is something good going to happen?
Well,
Probably never. Because like, yeah, reality
feel
is
like
that money
it's
has
never-
a stranglehold on what is called cannabis industry, and it ain't letting go. That ain't
it
happening.
was never intended for mom and pop type people,
We
right?
should have
Or
fought.
like,
There's a lot of things we should have fought for. But
yeah,
like
but
ultimately, ever since any of these things passed, the
like medical,
sentiment
like in
is
medical though,
that to have like a vote, you need like people that aren't associated at all with cannabis to still be like, oh, I think that's right. But at this point, the public voting, the debate, they don't like they don't care any like okay, you got legal cannabis, fine. That they don't care that this, how because you got to remember, as much as people that get stoned think everyone gets stoned, most people don't, even to this day. Like, so it's not this endless market, no.
So I was
Right? I mean, most likely, I guess they say it's tipping, but like more people in America drink alcohol than smoke cannabis. Some do both, but like there's like probably way bigger number of people that say, yeah, I drink alcohol. Oh,
so
do
I
you
just
try marijuana? That's one question. Do you
I discovered
smoke marijuana on like a weekly basis or daily basis? Then you start getting down to lower. That's just what I.
so I was driving around over the weekend, and for some reason I was going through 29 Palms, and I was like, huh, what the fuck is this place about? Like I've never really been there before. So um I went driving around and I found they got the Turtle Rock Casino. And so I'm like, oh, it looks like a good spot to turn in and turn around. So I go in the parking lot to like, do like a U-turn, just turn around and get back on the street because I was pretty much done exploring. And in their parking lot, they had a dispensary, and it was a Native American dispensary. And so I went in there. Cop, as soon as I get out of my car, like a cop just like right behind me, like just like eyeballing me hardcore. But anyway, I went in there, and they only have products that are grown by their tribe, and they had everything. They had flour, they had concentrates like live resin and crumble and butters and like disposable pens. Like it was all grown by their tribe. Like it was pretty interesting. So
That
I'm
was the
gonna
same tribe that had the casino license.
yeah, it's the tribe that's the
Because like,
uh
okay, I know something like Pachanga out here is pretty big casino, like as far as the Indian casinos in California. And I was part of with a couple of tribe members and the chief, and there's a whole hierarchy within the tribe. The reason like they didn't green light cannabis on the res and as a thing is because at a certain level they were mainly because of the federal law. There's no federal law, and as much as like they're in what do you call it, sovereign thing, no, that there's still this weird cooperation with the federal government, right? And that they were afraid that by like embracing or doing anything cannabis, like officially on the res, that would jeopardize their yeah, because they get the license to the casino somehow the feds.
yeah, but this is the Mission Band of Indians. They have a ton of casinos in the
Yeah,
Coachella.
well, like in that area, considering that the city itself isn't 29 Palms also one of those places that has like built an industrial center or park
I
with a
mean, it's
canopy.
really it's a military town, but the thing is, it's like kind of semi unincorporated San Bernardino County, and
Yeah,
so it's like it's all desert, But the fact that it's like a Native American casino, I mean, American Native, I can't even speak, Native American dispensary on the casino's land in their parking lot. I posted a link in chat. It's interesting. They have they have all the normal stuff though.
well,
It's just
I'll put
they
it
grew
this
it.
way: whether the federal law has changed or not, it, the feds would have a hard time at this point going after any of the reservations for their right, sovereign right, because that's part of it. It's a complicated relationship uh, to be cannabis. They would seem to have a whole why not? and even all their casinos. So there's a lot of Indian casinos in California and other parts of the country.
Oh yeah, especially if this might be a first of its kind kind of thing, you know.
And yeah, I mean, it cuts down to like you didn't. Over my lifetime, okay, American Indians. I knew the bigger tribes from the things I did as a kid, but then when you see
Down
the
the hill.
Indian casinos, you realize that there's tribes and then reservations like neighborhoods, right? Like, oh, this is this one. You drive 5 miles farther, now that's this one. You go 15 miles, that's another uh band they call them, like tribe. Um, yeah, there were a lot of different, like even way back when okay, humans lived like that. There
Yeah,
was
too.
already like hoods. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it was, right? Even though it was like it would be like all the little towns we live in right now were like separate and different from each other. Even though they sort of cooperated, no, they were different bands. Like these were they lived here. That's why their casinos right there. So many miles this way. Oh, that's where the other band lived or tribe. That's where their casino is. And there's so many of them. Like I think back, like, yeah, because even with living out by the two main ones, Paula and Pachanga, at least in the current time,
Pachanga's Temecula, right?
yeah,
Right there. Yeah.
and Paula's on the 76, and they're pretty big. They're both pretty big and big players, right? Uh, it's not like they're friendly with each other. Like people in the that are from the one talk shit about the one other, and vice versa. Like you know,
Other rivals, rivalry. Yeah.
it's sort of like that. Like I'm Paula. Oh,
Love
you're
it.
Pachanga. Yeah, and there's like different. Like even something I've lived down here 25 years and had different dealings with it, less personal. But in a few years ago, I was partners with these
He
two
just
guys
lived
that are like
125 years.
tribe members, right? So so the Changa tribe, and this is like known nationally, right? Is called the whitest Indian in America.
All I can tell you is that they're very wealthy.
Okay, yeah, that tribe's like yeah, that one kicks ass. Okay, it's because okay,
That
even in the
particular tribe.
difference of Paula has like this DNA thing, right? And you have to be this certain percent to qualify to be in to get the money, right? The shares. Like the Changa hasn't had that. So over the generations, right? A lot of inner whatever. It's the whitest
Motherfucker,
Indian
what's wrong with
tribe. Yeah, because ultimately, when it's established and these are the people on the roll, some of the uh, I read years ago, like a certain percentage of court cases that the county, like, because they go to the county court, is people that have been denied their right? Or they think, oh, we've been here, my grandfather was here, why don't we get them? It's like, yeah, uh, yeah, it's like they're not trying to add more people to the roles. Do you know what I'm saying? Because
it?
that's like a percentage, right? Yeah, they do all right. It's like, I guess, like I don't,
Doctor Who
I don't
hash.
know how that just became a thing because both of these are semi-rural, and I frequented them a lot. I also frequented Vegas, Tahoe over the years. I like to gamble. Like, even though people can make it here there any way, like when I'm in Vegas, I feel like I'm with people that somehow have enough money that they can gamble. Okay. Even though there's an underbelly going on there too, all that. Get out to like Paula, you realize, see, Vegas attracts people from, it's a tourist thing. People come from Kansas, Ohio, Cali, everywhere. Most of the people that come there. At one of those casinos? No, it's the people that live like 15, 20 minutes away. Most of them probably shouldn't be gambling. They don't have money. Right? And so it basically takes money that way from all these people and then redistributes to these other people.
Lime River Rose. That was a North Star release or a TGA release?
Kaffir Lime was from North Star. Lime River Rose is for me. That was
Oh, that's a humidor release.
lime crossed to my Ruby Jack. Or
Oh, okay, I got you.
Black Prince Ruby, I guess. But
Black. That's what BLR is. Okay.
we were talking about the. To tell you the truth,
Yeah, for some reason, when you said Jackson, like for some reason, I thought about that like guy from Mendo. That for some reason that what the hell, Mean Gene guy. I think sometimes
that's what his name. That's his name, his first name. So I guess Agnes was saying that, so I just kind of dittoed him, I guess. That was from him. The Lime one, I think. Okay, correct me. Perhaps that's his new work. I guess I don't keep track. Maybe the new version of his Lime work is Lime One. I thought that was from that guy in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Pungent, right out slime. It comes from Mean Gene. Fuck, for a little while, I had the so-called Jodrey cut of the Black Lime Reserve that he basically sifted and found a pure lime. Oh, it was lovely, but it got to me in the worst condition because it was like a fucking winter storm and it got stuck at the post office for like almost 2 weeks. So the clones were just half dead.
Oh, I lived for 2 weeks.
God, they were
Wow.
so bad. Yeah, it was so bad. So
that's a miracle.
They just limped to I tried to flour one because I was like, fuck, I don't know what to do. So I tried to save one and I tried to flour one. No, I think I tried to save them both for, I don't remember. It's been fucking years now, to be honest. But I do remember that I had a little bit of luck with them coming back. But yeah, they were both basically garbage. I ended up flouring one of them because I think I was just like, okay, I want to taste it at least. I think is what my thought was. And sure enough, I got maybe like just literally 5 grams off of it. I swear to shit. But it was some of the tastiest 5 grams I've ever grown. It was spectacular. It was so maybe a little more than 5 grams, but it was really not a lot. Like 15 grams tops. And it was like just not even an ounce, I think, not even a goddamn ounce. But it was really scrumptious. Absolutely fucking delightful. Anyway. Yeah, I was gonna ask him for it back, but then all that weird shit happened with I won't even mention those fucking those fucking people's names. And then basically I was just like, okay, he's friends with them, so I'm probably just gonna leave that alone. But it was a lovely, 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 lovely cut. The Black Lime Reserve itself, I've smoked it on a few different things, not just my stuff, but in a few other people's stuff. Oh, it brings that absolutely scrumptious lime. Lime itself is not unusual in cannabis. I mean, Sub had a bunch of stuff, had a bunch of different lime kind of versions in his stuff. There were a few different breeders that have it, but that pungent like lime juice from Mean Gene is a little bit different. Yeah, super, super special.
Brandon Rush, that's the name of that dude. I just thought of it. It took me a minute to think about it. I'm like, what the hell is that guy's name? But I think he made Limeorilla, where he took the one of Mean Gene's crosses, one of his lime cross, Lime One or something. crossed it to Gorilla Glue. I think that's what he
Also,
did.
maybe line one is a line from him.
Okay. I
Um,
grew like
Hey, great line.
the pack I got, this is like 3-4 years ago. Limerilla. I don't even know how I got it. Probably from Mace or something like that. Yeah, and this is when I was really motivated. So I took clones of each one and had them clean up. It was great. But the thing was, I think I ended up with like 6 or 7 that were female. Yeah, I remember for a little while we were like, okay, the 1 is like this, the 2 is like that, this one are sort of a little like the same. It was the biggest variety, like whatever you like. I guess he opened up the expression because like they were all like, a couple more super limey, a couple of them were a little different. It wasn't like any of them were bad, but I remember going, it was like I've packed a lot of seed packs. Yeah, there's usually a couple variety in there, more similarity than differences. This was like, yeah, they were all different, but they were all it. I didn't keep it going long. I'm not a lime guy, citrus guy. I I lean away from those. Just like
Did
I
you know
realized
G have any
that.
lime in it?
I just
Buddy?
realized that over like mainly conversations around here, people talk about what they like, and then I felt like over the years I haven't had things like that, but I realized, yeah, no. I grew tansy for a while, mainly for yield and had a certain appeal. There's still people that ask me for that. Like people like that. I get that. I don't. I've realized that. Like even someone I don't smoke it. I avoid it.
What's
I
that?
realized that when people offered me rosin and they had all these flavors and they'd be like, yeah, I got this. I usually say to them, any of them that isn't like any citrus or any lime or
You're missing out, actually. That Black Lime Reserve is stony as fuck. And
yeah.
some of the lime crosses are real stony. Yeah, the whole citrus is fucking uppity bullshit. No, 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 no. Like that's the thing. There's a lot of new flavors. Not all
Well, I
the
mean,
breeders
isn't that
deal
how
with this,
people
but
are? Like they gravitate to certain things, some people to other things. Like that's kind of what cannabis is. Like I was just pointing out that like not that I I I used to not be so why I avoid it. That's how I like learned for my endocannabinoid thing, right? I realized, yeah, sometimes it's like that's not the high I like. That's I guess more like I don't know, doesn't doesn't suit me. There's a few that have, but overall, I guess it's the I'm in the part.
that's fair. Here, I'm gonna make
I
you
think
host
that's
if you
like
guys want to keep chatting.
everybody's
And
endocannabinoid
oh,
system,
happy
whatever
420.
their metabolism. So there's some generalities and groupings, but then there's also like everybody's different.
All right, let me interrupt. Happy 420, folks. I just made it. It looks like, or maybe this is the longest minute in history because it feels like it's already been 420 for a while. Anyway, but cheers, folks. Oh, there it is. The minute just ended. So happy 421 now. Hope you guys are puffing something good. If you guys do want to hop on here, I just made Bud the host, Flora is co-host. So they have the opportunity if they want to keep doing the show. You guys should hop on right now because I feel like they're going to get bored and leave soon. So if you want to hop on, please do right now. Maybe to expedite that, I will put a link here. Just, oh, come on. I don't want to start all these different. There we go. some point. My notes app will open. There we go.
Are you still in California?
Nope, back home finally for the last couple days.
All the
drove,
clones make it.
what, Friday and Saturday? What's that for?
Did all the clones make it?
They did, actually, yeah. One of the clones, which clone? One clone didn't make it when I was down there because I guess it was right in the middle. I didn't notice that was frosted cherry cookies. I have bad luck with that one. I've gotten that one before. It just died. It was my fault. It just died. Probably didn't water it or something well enough because it was like right in the middle. I basically had it in a little tray because I was putting it out in the sun. I didn't have any fucking lights or anything, so I just basically put it out in the sun. There was enough light, so I just put it out in the sun, and I would put, bring it back in a little bit for the evening because it got a little bit chilly. Yeah, it was just like that. It's okay. I had plenty of others. Where are we at? Okay, there's the link. I'm not going to pin it, ladies and gentlemen. So if you do want to hop on, I would recommend hopping on now because I suspect that Bud and Flora have better things to do if nobody else hops on. So please do hop on right away. That would be very helpful. Consider this last call. Yeah, he's laughing. He's confirming exactly, folks. So hop on right away. This is basically the last call. Show could go on for hours if you fucking hop on. You know who you are, Green Fingers and all the rest of you. So folks, hop on. Love for the Plan is in the chat. Holy shit, hop on, Love for the Plan. You haven't been on the show for a while. J5 has been on the show for a while. Who else in here? Of course, all you guys could be first timers on the panel. You guys could totally join on the panel. We'll bend the rules for this show, ladies and gentlemen. We won't make you ask permission if you want. Just be nice though. You still have to not be a dick. Who else in here? I know there's some regulars. I can fucking spidey sense it. My spidey senses are tingling that there's some regulars. Back to you guys. Later, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I put some grape gelato smear on the paper. Sprinkle about a half a gram of Doctor Who hash. And then I got some of my resting gas face bud. And so this joint is kind of slowing me down a little bit. It's working. I like the Doctor Who hash. The Doctor Who strain is good from Natural Home Wonders. It's Mad Scientist Across the Time Wreck, I think is what it was. It's pretty good. I don't know if you ever grew any of Odie Diesel stuff. He used to be with TGA, and then he branched off on his own Natural Home Wonders. But he's a good breeder.
I grew like 4, maybe. I think he gave me 5 packs of 5 varieties. So my only dealings was with Sub himself when this is in like 2000 something, late 2000s. My buddy had a dispensary in Miramar, like area of San Diego, where like in the 215 era, somehow their little city laws, like there was like 15 different shops. So that was like just an area of San Diego when San Diego wasn't as friendly as some other areas. Oh, Miramar, it was. And then he branched out and got this warehouse like a mile away. And then I ran that place. That was the first time I like scaled to like, I think we had like 50 lights, which that was huge, right? Not even 50, 40 some, right? Problem was, it was in this really nice, I forget what they call it, business. It had a courtyard. Unlike, well, I've learned on commercial buildings what to look for and not. The, the, we had the end unit, but there was a dividing wall to this other business that was like a multi-marketer. So their thing, they had all these little what do you call it, cubicles where people came in and worked during the day, sales, whatever. And they started complaining to the landlord because, yeah, no matter what we did, dude, we tried everything. We had filters. We fucking tried to wall it off. We did so much. They would say when they came in the morning, their office and cubicles, they could smell weed. So like it was like this dispute, and then next thing you know, we assumed they did it. There was like this notice from the fire department that they wanted to do an inspection. So, after like maybe less than 2 years, we shut it down. When I was there, one day, Danny calls me and says, dude, come over to the shop. So I'm like, all right, I'll be down there in a minute, because I used to just be right there. And it was because Sub, and he had his, I don't know who, but some girl was with him. And he was like dready and like, and he's kind of a square, but he thought, oh, this guy's like a hippie dude. You want to come and meet it, like whatever, because he was on a sales call, and like it was, Danny ran the place. He wasn't going to put out any money for seeds. That wasn't something that, there was clones that sold, but there wasn't really seeds in the 215. That like couple shops had things, but no, it wasn't a thing. But Sub was trying to talk him into it, and then dude like brought me in. Is like, yeah, what do you think? And and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I but Sub had his own sales pitch. I just remember it. It was just one little 15-minute crossover. He wasn't the type that was going to accept no as an answer. Like, what ended up happening was, I think he set the shop up with like 10 packs of each. Maybe it was 5 kinds. But then he also set me up with 5 packs of each kind, where he was like, yeah. And then here he had this card or this paper that like said how to get him the money, like probably money order or some shit like that. And I did. I sold like, wasn't that much money. And I sold like a few to a couple people, and then sent that money, and then had like 2 or 3 of the other ones. And I grew them. I forget some of the names. Like, you could say the names, I'd be like, oh yeah, that one. Especially from that early era, whatever years that was. And it was in San Diego. That was it. One, yeah, I was already growing, like I was like Cali connected, Swerve, and had a lot of good shit in that direction. And what I remember having these sections, the time I grew out the subcool stuff, where I was like, holy shit, this is before there was like so many crazy terps, all right? And the rosin thing and other ways. He was like the first guy that I remember that had seeds out, that had some like way out there terp shit, like shit you never smell. Now, did they grow that great? Not in like the Bubba, OG, SFE era.
Rotten mangoes, and rotten
Like,
peaches, rotten
yeah,
fruit.
like the craziest fucking flavors. I remember that going, but that wasn't like my thing. Like at that time, like I was in like wasn't like, but I did grow them out, and they were some crazy fucking flavors. I remember going, "Holy shit! Never could imagine weed tasting like this." Way back now, it's normal that there's all these flavors that are like dialed in even further. But way back, he was the guy that had way out shit compared to everyone else. That's how I remember it. Then I seen him when I had Boots at High Times. He was like one of the right, you know,
The
like
regular.
all the people that had Boots kind of allowed us to be at the same hotel or do whatever. We knew each other because we'd load in, and then we kind of sort of knew each other. It was all one big party. Those are good years. Like High Times gets a bad reputation now for what it's become, which is to me just a shock that like something that was so well positioned and had, even though you know, there was different eras. So like, all right, you question what the magazine back in the 70s and parts of the 80s where it was more drugs than weed, and then it became a weed thing, or the fake weed they used to sell through it. But whatever. It was a
Motion Wizard Smoke or whatever. Wizard.
and in those events they threw when like I never made it to Amsterdam. My friend Dave, he went a lot of years, right? So he would tell me about it and bring back seeds from it and some weeds from it. Um, in like 2009, I think it was, or it might have only been 10. It was like the first time High Times was like putting on what was, they were different for sure. Like they were like events, but I remember the first one was in downtown LA on the like not on the you're on the 110, and there was like this oil. 76 used to have this building in this area. Um, it was like right there. It was just outside, and like no one really knew if it was cool or not. Like even how the event ends up, most people forgot this part, and I only like really remembered it when I heard some content where somebody, I think it was Swerve interview, I think it was like the next year. Remember that crazy guy that was like killing the cops and the lawyers, and the police went on like full alert in the whole Southern Cal area, and then they finally cornered him up in some arrowhead or in the mountain cabin, and they burned him out. Remember that guy?
No, I don't think I remember that. But
Okay, so the thing was supposed to be in LA again, but because the police were on this super fucking gnarly high alert, cops had to ride with cops because he like was plucking them off. Turned out he was one of them and trained military, and then just went some cockeyed story.
okay, yeah. I think I do remember now.
He was gnarly. Like they were afraid of him because, oh, he's got all the
Yeah.
fucking gnarly training, and now he's fucking plucking us off, right? So it put the whole city on this weird alert. So they can't they rescinded, like, oh, you can't have the event. And then somehow with that happening, they went at the Orange Fairground, whatever, which is like kind of decrepit old place out in San Bernardino, right? And then for year after year, uh, it was held out there. I can remember going out like at 10 or 11 with my truck because to get food for the people work in my booth, like, and being at the stop sign of the major, and oh, that was the day all the people were coming in, and there was cops uh, in the middle of the street, like directing traffic and shit, right? That there was like cops directing traffic and there were people that were leaving the event, walking across back to their car across the crosswalk with like not clones, like teens in their arms, like plants. I remember that as being like, holy shit, like the world's changed, like holy fuck. That was the first time I was like, yeah, fuck. I guess it's fuck. People just walk down the street with plants. They're leaving this cannabis event, even though the cops were right there. Like I remember that. It's like, wow, that like, but that's how it was there, and it went good there for the like the last time I was involved in it was 2015. It was already like there were I don't even know what became of some of those places, but there was like certain dispensaries that had booths, or they were. This is like pre
Dispensaries.
rec, so this was in the 215 that would have these booths that they must have spent like 150 grand. They like, oh, you only rent this amount of space, but they would then go 2, 3 high, right? And they'd have fucking all the high tech shit, noise, and this. And back then, the whole thing of the event was like giving out dabs to people or giving out something. That's what attracted people to your booth.
Yeah, there was a long line for all those dabs. I remember free dab
Free
here, free.
dabs, free dabs. I even
Yeah,
remember
I had a
then
little pipe
because
buddy.
I was making dabs and I was giving. Sometimes I'd go around where there's the big company, whatever. Everyone was, and their dabs. You got to remember, we were doing hot dabs back then, right? And then I would get a whiff of like the exhale or the smoke coming out of it, and it would be like a refinery, dude. It was like because back then, like 2010 or 11, I don't even know what year that shit struck and became, but from like one year to the next, it just became this huge thing, right? And yeah, even that, because I lived through it. I'm surprised it took us so long to realize that hot dabs wasn't the thing in this other way, right? Because back then we used like titanium skillets that would be like red the fuck hot and basically put it on as hot as you could for like a couple years. If I think back, it wasn't like, oh, that was one little, oh, we went down that lane and turned right around. No, we were in that lane for a while. Like I remember because that was what was happening at those events. Then all of a sudden, I remember the first time at my house, forget, one of my friends came over and had like his own thing and stuff. And it was like, dude, have you ever done it low temp? Have you heard of that? Low temp? And I remember him going and explaining to me, I'm like, I don't know, let's try it. And he hooked it up and I was like, holy shit, dude, this is the way. Like it was like right then from there to there, I was like, what the fuck were we doing smoking it so fucking hot? But we did for a couple years. Like I think back to that, it's like, wait, why how did it take so that long to like reverse and realize, oh, like 600 degrees is good, not 1800 degrees. But whatever. But there were these, yeah, it was the beginning of hype, and there was like, remember, I don't even think it's like such a thing anymore, but at those events, there were a couple companies like called 420 Girls or that had these like model chicks that could be rented out to like put in front of your booth to try to generate attention. And they would dress like super gnarly, scandalous, whatever. Like it was like a Vegas showgirl type thing, right? Things were different. Like it was like the Wild West. Because technically, we weren't supposed to be really doing any of that. Right? Like it was like if I remember correctly, it was like, yeah, they paid the cops just didn't want to fuck with it. Right. But even the couple years in, I remember the first time I had to like file things that was with the, what was it, SBA? Like, oh, they were going to collect their taxes on you. Where at first it wasn't like that big a deal the first couple years. Then it became, oh, you had to have all this because you're going to have to claim whatever you and send that money to them. As I forget all that shit. That's when most of that shit got like more real is when I just faded out. Because for a while there, yeah, it was different. I'll just say that. you just pay in cash and you make up names. Like even back then, like we had our booth and all that under one thing, but then like when we entered stuff, we had it under a different thing. Just made up things. Like even if you look at the thing, because at that time, Terrapin, that's Grateful Dead song, and Terrapin Crossroads was just open. We called it Terrapin Terpene. What was the name of it? Terrapin Terpene something. But you could just make it up. There was nothing. That was just a name we put on the form. That was like, all right, we thought it up. But then as it went on, oh no, things had to be more like, well, later on it became licensed and legal shit and fuck all that shit. This was still, but yeah, things just were modernizing. Really. But for a while there, yeah, it was just a cash type thing.
I don't know if they would have allowed medical to keep going in the long run, though.
Well, it was being abused. Like medical would have had to have self and should have from the beginning realized, like, yeah, and been ready to like fork up money and pay whatever license, whatever, some system like that. Yeah, and a lot of it was that I think that at the peak of 215 years, maybe 10% of the actual people that had cards and were seeking marijuana were medical, like what in the true sense of medical. It was just like a way to be legal. You know what I mean? And since it was like the Wild West, people pushed boundaries. And then ultimately, yeah, it was actually that turned the table where, like, I remember when the first kind of data came out where they like had like the dollar amount of cannabis in the nation, or it's like in billions, and like it's a huge amount of money. Like I always got the sense that like the world was humming along, and the sharks, the Wall Street guys, had been pillaging like basically every sector of the economy, conglomerating it, making plays, all the shit they do, and then the housing bubble, the fucking data, and then in the last so many years, they looked around and they seen an oasis, and they said, "Oh, cannabis! Wow, that's a fucking giant fucking thing. It's been going on for 100 years, 50 years. You could quantify the amount that the cannabis is worth," and they came for it. They came for like what used to just be like one person to another person to another person, all the people in the chain that like from my dad's era where he sold Oaxacan spears and my best friend's dad that sold Colombian lids. Right? That's how we both got that's how I smoked weed when we first took it from our parents. Um, and then they sold to people and other people, and all the way down to people that sold sticks or joints or whatever, right? And there was like $1 here, $10 here, $100 here, all this money that was fair and square, didn't hurt nobody, right? And then we medical, okay, I get the reasons that happened, but then it got like blown into this legal thing, basically, because one thing led to the other, where it's just basically like, oh, well, that's a sector of fucking commerce that we don't have control of, tax dollar wise or investment wise. And now it's like we're in the middle of like, yeah, just turning it over to them. Like that's what's gonna happen. A few people are gonna get rich. But like that's I don't know. I call me crazy, but that's I don't see how you can say I'm no fucking wrong. Because like you can see examples of Wall Street for the last 100 years of how they rated this, they rated that, they rated this, and it's obvious that that's like the play here because you always hear about this investment money. A lot of it's been lost, but that's how they do it. Like good investor like has 10 investments and if 3 of them come in, he's sitting pretty. If 7 lose, that's part of doing business. Like, but those guys are sharks. Like, and a lot of the weird things that have happened with the price and the this, it seems to be things that favor what their end goal is.
Oh shit. I'm gonna go do a dab in a second. I'll probably come right back though. But I have to go in the other room.
Well,
I'm looking at this Native American casino, not casino, but Native American dispensary, and I think I might go by there again and try to buy something.
well, I'd be
Okay.
curious if like, okay, do they collect the state tax and all that, or are they outside the CBA or what CBB, the Cannabis Control Board, or the CCB, or because they're sovereign, they're don't
They might
have
get
to
to
play.
keep their own tax. They might get to keep the tax for all we know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm all for that. Like even that is relatively like uh localized to just people trying to, instead of this big, I don't know if it's corporate yet, but it's getting close to being, uh, yeah, commercial, whatever you want to call it.
They got this strain called Mazapan, Mazapan. See if I can find out anything about that.
Isn't that a pharmaceutical drug?
Mazapan? I don't know. Inspired by popular Mexican peanut candy effect.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, that's what that is. The word, or I think there's a candy that's called that.
Earthy scent, nutty taste. Other people have it too. Interesting. Mexican candy, do-si-do and Mendo breath cross. Dosito and Mindo breath make a peanut. What? Oh, I guess so, huh? Is Dosito and Mindo breath? Is that what peanut butter breath is? I have to look that up. It's been a while
Yeah,
since.
some strains I wish I can. I don't even know how, why. I guess I do because I could probably
Yeah, that's
remember what replaced it. But I ran Mendo bread for
Dosito and
like,
Mindo breath. So these guys just renamed Dosito or Mindo or peanut butter breath. They just renamed it to Mazapan.
but that's a strain I wish I had back. Just Mendo breath, but I don't have it.
Mindo breath was great. I that's another one I wish I kind of had back too. I grew that for a while. It was great.
What I like about the Mendo, even before Mendo breath, but all of it back to Mendo breath. There's like if you smoke it in a room and then you leave the room, you come back in, then you smell this like certain distinct smell that is like this Mendo. Like it's like from the beginning of time. I first smoked Mendo was like in the late 80s. And it was that. Like you could smell it across the fucking crowd. It had this distinct exhale, right?
Yeah, Salt and
Beyond it.
Sea seem exactly the place I'm talking about. Yeah. How is the weed, Salt and Sea? But he's smoking some of it.
Yeah, that was like when I still had Mendo breath. I don't like, I've had a lot of things and a lot of things have happened in life, whatever. And then somehow where I'm at now, I don't have it. Just Mendo breath. Not, oh, I have seeds of what, what, uh, Salt and Sea or Green Fingers was talking about. I gave them those. But at that time, shortly thereafter, in the chaos of having too many different things going and have run something for so long, somewhere I made a decision that now I question. But at the time, I probably had reason or it just happened. That could happen too. Yeah, I just let that go. But you bringing it up, just Mendo breath. I'm like, yeah, I just want that Mendo breath back. But it was also a strain that, like, over time was like, I had Blackwater, which was Mendo. The leaning one is the one I had, the purple one, in SFE. Um, now around 7 years of cloning and recloning and just running it, it like lost its vigor. Like mainly you'd have to veg it like twice as long. It just like, oh, it wasn't like that for many years and then it got that way. And I did a few things. I even had it outside in the soil, not in a bed or a pot, like in the ground. And it got happy and I took clones off those, brought them back inside. The Blackwater, I finally let that go. I wish I had that, but and even though I gave it out or what, no one still has it. But oh well, that's life.
Yeah. eBay. I got car parts on eBay. All right, I'm gonna go take this dab. I'll be right back. I don't know if you want to have a
All right.
rant, but
I think I've ran it enough for tonight. I don't even know what to say. Most
well,
likely it'd be something disgruntled or something. No, I don't know.
I mean, we could just end it if you want. It's either way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I got work to do. It's 11. Yeah, this would be good because I got to go defoliate a tray. I don't Sometimes if I wait too late and then I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. I have to do it today. It's part of my
All right,
schedule.
well, then we'll just jump off here now and see each other
Yeah.
on high noon tomorrow, maybe, or otherwise
Yeah.
set.
Yeah. Have a good night, Flora, and everyone else.